recording, and we are live. Welcome, my friends. I am Omar Krieg. This is the Krieg Dominion, and this is actually our 10th episode of Season 2 of Second Star, a 2300 role-playing experience. I am Omar Krieg, of course, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, your host for tonight, and I am, once again, joined by my wonderful crazy people friends, Charles, Wiggles, and Thurgor, who, in just a quick second, will be explaining a little bit about themselves or some other thing. But welcome to another weekly jaunt through known space and my struggles to keep my cat under control because he's already clawing at shit. Hey, chill out, dude. Let's start with some intros and see what is new and exciting for us and our friends in the last week or so since our last session, and that will give me a moment to actually daddle with my phone. And you're not paying attention to me, you're listening to them. Starting with Charles, as always. Charles, what's new and exciting in your world over the last week or so?
Let's see. It's post Halloween, so I'm dealing with candy wrappers all over the house.
Of all things, the thing you're dealing with is the candy wrappers. My first thought would have been hyperactive children, but whatever.
Well, they're I'm not saying they're walking on the walls or the ceiling. Um, but there is a slight levitation going on.
It's a wonderful
And then
way to phrase all that, by the way.
right, and then a couple places we hit last night, they got full size bars, so it's
Oh
like,
man,
yeah,
y'all found the
it's like,
chocolate mecca.
right. Um, so there was that, and then I'm in a regular face-to-face Traveler game, and last Friday we played a session, and the character I have who is a ex-merchant marine broker. We were on this ship. We found some secret stowaway compartment. We found some secret stowaway thingy. And that's how the GM explained it. Some thingy you don't recognize it.
Oh
And
wow.
then and then we had a crew member, an NPC, who says that thingy belongs to me, and shot me with a laser pistol. And I came to within a bad dice roll of having to roll up a new character.
Oh man. Wait, okay, so was that Traveler, or was that Traveler 2300 or
Traveler.
regular
That was
old?
Traveler.
Okay.
Regular old Traveler. Yeah, I didn't have no body armor, no nothing. I was so the setup was we found a sneaking compartment down in a low berth underneath a whole bunch of popsicles. Um, eh,
I literally
eh,
pictured popsicles, but please continue.
yeah.
Not not
Uh,
the not the low berth, the actual
yeah,
popsicle. But I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Well, that's what we were calling them. Was all the
Yeah.
low berth.
No, that makes sense.
Uh, and then so that this engineer that we hired, who was already kind of shifty, but we're like, maybe we need somebody shifty with us because we might be doing some shifty things. Um, anyhow, we're like jumping away to this one planet to go do this special mission to earn a gray market weapons turret, and I'm gonna air quote gray market.
Yeah, yeah, we know what you
Uh,
mean. We know what you mean.
it just fell off the truck.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
listen, it's not my fault that things just happen to show up where they do. Somebody needs to secure the gear. I got
yep.
you. I got you.
So
Oh,
middle of the
that's
jump.
badass. Can I
Yep.
take a picture of that?
So middle of
Oh,
the
it's too
jump.
far away.
Oh, he's
Oh,
talking.
god damn, that's so cool.
Wiggles.
No, this like fucking Osprey or something just took off from the airport and like shook the RV. And it has these huge propellers, right?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the tips of propellers are lit green. So like this fucking Osprey with these huge giant props going overhead with these
Oh man.
green circles, and it looks really fucking awesome.
Oh man. I wasn't like when you first started talking. I thought you were talking about like him trying to find these nuclear weapons or whatever off the side of the truck. But you know what? No, that's actually that had to be an awesome view. Sorry for cutting in like that and
Yeah,
kind of.
no, too late to get my phone though, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry,
Oh
Charles.
wow.
Please continue.
Anyhow, long and the short, uh, uh, jumping to go hit the emergency button to close the bay up and keep from being trapped or something like that, or being shot or being harassed. Um, the bad guy shot me with a laser pistol as I jumped across, and the GM rolled really well. He out of the three dice, he got 2 boxcars and a 2.
Ooh.
So I went from being conscious to being unconscious, like
Lickety
that.
split.
Yep. And I was within, like I said, 2 hit points of basically having to roll up a new character.
Oh man, you're gonna spend a
And when it was the
lot of
first
time in
first
medbay.
first full session. So
Uh,
yeah, we're gonna do that. Anyhow, that's been my week, short of the the Halloween's funness, and that's where we're at.
Wiggles, jumping for
Hi.
Osprey. What's other than the Osprey? What's new for you? And exciting, for that matter.
My pay for traveler game sunsetted. I went down. One of the players had to stop playing due to live shenanigans, and that left me with 2 players, so that's not quite enough players to continue.
Yeah.
I may have gotten a job with being paid to run games at conventions.
What?
Yeah. Well, of course, you go to role playing and board game conventions. There's GMs running games, right?
Yeah.
Some of those GMs are paid.
Well, that's actually pretty cool for you.
Yeah, no, basically it's a sales position, right? Because it's publishers paying us to run their games.
Yeah. Hey, money is money, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if it's a thing yet. I just joined their group last weekend, and so nothing happened. Nothing has happened yet, but whatever. I might be doing something in January, and I might be going to PAX Unplugged this December, maybe.
Ironically enough, that's the second time today I've heard PAX Unplugged in 2 completely different contexts, other than the fact it's a convention, and I don't know anything more than that. But no, please, sorry, I'm also derailing you. Please continue.
Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania from the 3rd to the 1st to the 3rd of December.
Nice.
Yeah, clear across the country. Never been on the East Coast. So that'd be fun.
Your idea of fun to mine. Well, no, I'll take that. I'll refrain from further comment. I'll just leave it at that.
I've never been to the East Coast. I like traveling. I've never been to the East Coast. It'd be fun to get over there.
No, I imagine it is. If you like traveling, and I mean just generically, if you enjoy traveling and you're going to a place you've never been before, obviously it's going to be exciting and fun.
Yeah, I probably won't get to leave the hotel very much, but yeah.
I mean, you know what? If you go outside the hotel, there's a whole slew of people around, and personally, I'm not a big fan of people. People have ruined people for me.
Right, that's why you run role-playing games on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to actually, I mean, obviously I have to interact with people, but I don't have to do it in, a face-to-face sort of way. I mean, other than, Zoom or throw my face on the screen.
So a traveler game I ran, the ship had the ship had smuggler compartments, and they decided to actually inventory what's inside the smuggler compartments. It was a bunch of miscellaneous equipment, and then I thought it'd be hilarious to give them a pocket nuke.
Here, have a small nuclear weapon.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. I laughed my ass off. They were like, "What the hell are you doing this?" I had no plans for that thing whatsoever. I just thought it'd be funny just to make them deal with it.
Yeah, there you go. Listen, half the fun of being a GM is putting your players in ridiculous situations and just watching how they respond.
There you go.
I'm actually going to touch on that briefly in a moment, but before I do that, I believe that takes us to Thurgor. Thurgor, what's new and exciting for you, my friend?
Hang on a second. This thing is being weird.
You're being weird. Oh, don't listen to me. I talk shit all the time.
I was trying to post a meme and I don't know, that was bizarre. It had some of my banking information in it.
Ooh.
That's
your mother's maiden name?
Yeah, that's definitely something that requires some censorship. Let's see.
Yeah,
German, not German, also not German. Cute.
I just pulled it down. I guess maybe I could do it. Now it says 4 files. No telling what the hell it's going to pop up this time. It's doing it again. Never mind. Delete.
Yep, there you go. Delete that.
Yep.
Better safe there than anywhere else.
That's bizarre.
You know what I find hilarious? Is when you tell me your mother's maiden name. It's a knee slapper. Gets me every time.
There we go. All right, I finally got it
Wow.
up. Not that that was important. All right, so nothing much new here. It's getting cold already. But yeah, like we talked about last time, I'm having to start over with my doctor search, and
Yeah, I remember that.
we're going to add a different headhunter company to the mix because the current one says they're out of candidates.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to play with them anymore.
So when it comes to
Um,
trying to find a doctor, I mean, so obviously, I don't know shit about headhunting or trying to find very specific specialties or what have you. But I feel like there's plenty of doctors out there. But also, they're doctors, so that like you're already narrowing the scope significantly because you're looking for a very
Right.
specific type of
Have you
doctor.
tried broadening it up? Have you tried just looking for like auto mechanics or like receptionist? It's like maybe that's your problem. Maybe it's you're just looking too narrowly for the position role of doctor. Have you
Well,
just tried looking for other stuff?
if
Like
we had a
anybody.
if we had a Holiday Inn Express nearby, that could work because we just put them up there, and then the next morning they could say, oh, I'm not a dentist, but I spent the night at Holiday Inn Express,
Yeah, there you
and
go.
everything would be fine. But unfortunately, it's not like that.
No. But when it comes to
Um,
that, like, I feel like there's still, numbers wise at least, I feel like there would still be plenty of available candidates. Is that just not the case and I'm not understanding everything enough?
I mean, most people are employed. Some people aren't happy. Those are the ones you get, or the ones that are looking because they're not happy where they are for the most part.
Right.
Coming to Alaska is somewhat of a draw in and of itself.
Right, but I
Um,
imagine that's a double-bladed or double-edged sword or something,
right.
whatever the phrase
Kind of
is.
is because
Yeah.
you're isolated, so
Yeah, exactly.
you run into the problem sometimes then with whether or not the spouse is okay with it.
I can imagine.
And that's probably what happened to the first one. I think the spouse wasn't okay with it.
Right. And you're not in like Anchorage or Juneau,
Oh,
or
oh no.
you're in like not just Alaska isolation, but you're in like small town
Yep.
Alaska isolation.
I think
So
this island is about 7 miles by 11 mile.
yeah, and yeah.
Yeah.
How far off the coast are you?
Oh, not very far. It's only 45 minutes to catch a can
Oh,
by
okay.
ferry. By ferry, you can take a seaplane if the weather's good.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's
Um,
gonna be hit or miss, especially for like half the
yep,
year.
it is, and also they're real bad about not making decisions till
Oh,
half of the day is gone.
yeah, until like the last minute, which
Right.
arguably for someone in that position, I can understand why they're waiting until the last minute to make that weather call because
Yeah.
the weather can literally change any minute. Between the fact that weather is just weird and the fact that we just don't understand weather enough to be accurate as far as projections for various models and whatnot. Anyway,
Other than that, I got the glorious news that it was time once again for me to go for a colonoscopy. So I have that to look forward to in the near future.
good on you. I
No, the prep is
definitely good
horrific.
on you, not me.
Hmm. Have you had one before?
I have not, and I'm pretty sure I'm probably also going to be due for one. I'm just not gonna, play the anal version of Russian roulette.
Well, you're asleep, so
Well,
you have
Russian
no
roulette
idea what they're
happens
doing.
regardless if you play it. So
What's that, Wiggles?
the Russian roulette happens whether you play it or not.
Yeah. No, I am well aware that I am the one rolling all the dice against me by choosing not to participate in various medical things that I should probably be doing, but I don't do it, and that's my choice. I digress.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, before we get started, a couple things I want to bring up, and partially because, like, I don't want to say bragging, but definitely proud of the fact that after probably 2+ years of participating in a different role players, streamers, YouTubers community, I'm finally a cast member on one of their shows that just we haven't officially started per se, but the character creation process was done this previous weekend. Excuse me. So I will be in AP Gaming Reel's Imperium Maledictum Let's Play, actual play, whatever you want to call it. That will be, I think, our actual first full-blown session. Probably it's probably not going to be until after the first of the year, just based on scheduling constraints. But we do have a bunch of things well into motion to the point where I feel like it's probably safe that I can bring that up. In fact, I will probably start dropping links for the videos in our Discord, but I don't know. It's like I said, it's not going to kick off a first full official episode, not for a little while. There's probably going to be a couple like one-on-one sessions between the GM and the players. And so when mine come up, I might throw some of those in there, but that'll be all the content for that as far as that's concerned for the rest of this year, just again because of scheduling constraints. And the other thing, because I have this weird affliction where when I listen to other people playing a role-playing game, like on YouTube as I'm driving for 8 hours a day, I get really interested in how the game system works. Like if I enjoy what they're doing and what I'm hearing and the story that's being told, I get really interested in how the mechanics work and start thinking about how I maybe run my own campaign in that particular system. So I just dropped like $50 or $60 right before the show started on Alien RPG. So soon I will have a hard copy of the core book. Sooner I will have a PDF. But I will be taking a look at that and looking at the possibilities of maybe one day running an Alien RPG campaign on top of my current. What's that?
The Foundry module for Alien is fantastic.
I have not made the jump to, I'm gonna say, web-based VTTs, because honestly, the only one I'm really familiar with, and I'm not even that skilled at it, is of course TTS. But I am definitely considering getting in on the Foundry side of definitely for Alien RPG. One of my
it is wonderful. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Traveler Foundry module sucks ass, but the Foundry for the Alien module is wonderful.
I have been told that what's the other one? Fantasy Grounds has a pretty good Traveler and also a 2300 module that I haven't had to take the time to look at, but.
Mad Beard Man. His primary game of choice is 2300 AD. He's the one who does all the Traveler stuff and 2300 AD stuff.
Gotcha. But yeah,
he hasn't done a 300 Fantasy Grounds, but everything else is slow because it's him himself.
One of the Discord community members has been in contact with me off and on over the last few weeks as they get caught up on the show. And they were the ones that actually pointed me to Fantasy Grounds. And I believe he said, I don't misquote me because I may be misremembering this, but I believe he said he was the one, or he had made a 2300 module for Fantasy Grounds. And again, I just haven't gotten that far with looking into all that stuff. So I don't know. But definitely not opposed, not even the slightest bit, because anything that makes my job easier, I'm in. Of course, I got to learn a lot in order to get a decent show up and running with it. At any rate, let's get started with our our session this evening. Previously on Second Star, a firefight broke out at the Dragon's Tooth, an open-air restaurant where the team was to meet with Dr. Grimaldi. Learning that the attackers were somehow connected to Provolution, the Durandal, and even Grimaldi himself, the team is able to keep the good doctor safe and later manages to reconvene everyone at a low-cost hotel near the starport. The plan is put into place for getting back to Grendel to find the crashed French ship, and that is where we left off last session and begin tonight's adventures. And there is no opening sequence. We're going to dive right into it with a question that I feel like I'm asking a bit more often than I should be, which usually indicates I'm not taking appropriate amounts of notes of my own. Who's going on this trip? This is what I'm tracking. We have Fritz Hellwig, Mr. and Mrs. Wyatt, Joseph Milligan, Paul Gray, Kirsty Blaine, Dr. Grimaldi. I never gave her a title. Let's just say Professor Jackie Smith Walker. I feel like there's one, possibly two other people, as well as, of course, various equipment, and a large bag of approximately 100 kilos of expired meat or expired meat
200.
products.
It's 200 kilos.
Was it 200 kilos? Because I feel like I was
Yep.
going to like 200 to 250 pounds.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think you said kilos,
I probably said
but
kilos.
the number was 200.
Well, who knows?
Barbie Walker was one of the others that we were going to.
Okay, did we play a scene? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I asked him about it, and I think he left it as I'll think about it, because you wanted to think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's Tankerson's decision, of course. It's his ship. Well, not really his ship, but whatever. It's his mission, and so if he don't want a journalist there, that's his call. I think it would be interesting to have, and would possibly bring him business and us business and everything else.
Well, I guess that means I got to put Barbie Walker on Excel tracker I have here. Let's see. Barbie Walker is I forget the exact agency that she works with, but I know she's a broadcast.
BKBC Radio.
Yes. BKBC Radio.
Journalist
intern. Former combat correspondent, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
And I don't have stats for her, but let's just say she's going to be at least half decent with communications related stuff, and perhaps a smidgeling. I know that's not really a word, but a smidgeling of gun combat related skill sets.
Yep.
Okay, let me save that. I don't know. Did I ever actually put this spreadsheet up on the share folder for you guys? I don't remember if I actually did.
What's it of?
Not the new one.
It's the spreadsheet that has the current team, as it were.
Oh, the other question as far as who all's going is, was there anybody else from the university that was going to be going?
Yeah,
I thought there was.
The professor who studies pentapods. He wanted to come. They wanted to come.
Yeah, that's Jackie Smith Walker. That's her job. She's the professor of one of a few professors of xenoanthropology. Wow, that I actually got that out mostly okay on the first try. Our game's lore. Upload.
So if we're just taking one lander, I feel like we should probably keep, I don't know, 2 seats empty on the way out there, because you never know.
Weird shit happens when the ship leaves the port.
So I think that thing fits a total of, is it 11?
I think it's 10 or 12.
Maybe it's 12.
Maybe it's 10 the name of my new little folk in the upcoming fantasy novel. That is amazing.
10 seats in the back and 2 up front, I think maybe.
I think that sounds right. And I know we had a floor plan or deck plan somewhere for it. I think it's in book 3 or whichever book is in the starter. That's the ships and vehicles. If it's not that one, and then it's like not ships of the French arms, ships of whatever the second Mongoose ships book is, the ships of the frontier or something like that. If you guys want to, or when you otherwise are so inclined, you can go into our share folder, and you'll see an Excel form or sheet, whatever the hell it's called, PC teams and NPCs, which has more or less a half decent bit of half decent. Jesus, my God. I really do know how to talk. I swear to God I do. A half decent bit of notes on.
So how much you've had to drink today, Craig? To be honest, are you swearing already?
I have had 1 shot of tequila about 45 minutes ago, and you can go fuck yourself. I get tongue-tied sober, like dead sober, so.
Right, because you're no. That makes sense. I believe you.
I really wish I actually caught that, because you, ironically enough, you got really distorted there for a second at the right moment. In fact, oh man. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I think what's gonna happen is that Barbie Walker is going to find a way to politely, respectfully no insult intended, decline the invitation simply because other work requirements that are superseding her availability.
Okay.
And I say that mostly because I remember, like, when I did the prep for this, I didn't include anything with her specifically because for whatever reason I forgot about adding her. Because, we do the show on Wednesday, and then I prep on Saturday or Sunday, and in this case it was Sunday. And I totally spaced that part, so we'll just argue that, she had some other pressing matters come up, and a shot is not a flagon. I hear you, Australis. But yeah, so she's got other things coming up that she was not able to get out of, and therefore is not available for the trip to Grendel. But that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people on this 10 to 12 seat starship, or not starship. It's the Super Gulf from the. Oh my God, you guys are killing me right now. Turn the flame down, otherwise you're gonna roast me too much, and I'm gonna burn. Jeez, man. On that note, I have. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of June, 2297. We are presently, for the very quick moment, we are still on the surface of Beowulf. Is there any last second S that we want to get into? Like, at this point, and what I mean by it, so I'm picturing, like, at this point, like, everybody's on the ship with whatever gear they're bringing. You've got this big ass bag, or maybe a couple of bags, of expired meat product stowed. All your
And
gear
bone.
and bone, yes. That's right, you did mention bone. I do remember that now. But yeah, like, everything you're gonna bring with you is locked and loaded, stored, secured. People are grabbing seats, maybe opening that last bag of popcorn before they start the flight because whatever. Anything that we want to get into, or anything we want to double check before we head off?
What about? I asked Reese about doing something to temporarily disable that other lander. Is that something they can do?
Okay, so just
Can
for
we
my
take the
clarification,
catalytic converter?
if they take the microchips out, they won't be able to start it, right? For real quick, define disable.
All right. So my worry is that the terrorists that escaped may not be done. Okay. I would think it would be a stretch for them to follow us to Grendel, but if they're interested in the same thing we're interested in, they're going to have to, So
yeah, if they manage to put 1 and 2 together and come up with 3, they'll realize that the Durandal's on Beowulf, or their next best guess is, well, they're probably going after the Durandal. Maybe we should follow them.
Exactly, and if they know how we've been getting back and forth, they may know there's 2 landers here. They may come and take that lander from them to follow us. I don't know. Who knows what could happen.
All right, so maybe if you left a message or something like that with Reese, what would it say, or what would you otherwise suggest?
We talked to him a little bit about what had happened,
Okay.
When we first rolled in there.
That's right, because I remember you saying you wanted to have. Oh, that's what it was. You wanted to have them try to set up some sort of, like, not right on the site, but maybe like outside the starport fences, keep an eye on the place in case somebody shows up.
Right, or just even in a building next door or whatever, and to see if anybody shows up and tries to take that lander.
Right.
And that if he could do something temporary to the ship, to disable it, so that if they did get on it and tried to activate it or whatever, it wouldn't work, and then they would have to spend a bunch of time, figuring out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
If they even have that skill set,
I think Reese in the unnamed ground mechanic, flight crew or whatever the heck, ground crew. That's what it was. I never gave him a name, but there was another guy, possibly even 2, that were part of Barrier Aerospace, and their whole purpose on life was, or their job anyway, was to, help do the mechanic stuff and service the ships, refuel them all and all that stuff. So I think somewhere between, and this is the general consensus that you get back from Reese, is like, don't worry, we got it, we'll take care of it. You guys be safe. Did anybody ever happen to actually tell Reese why you're going back to Grendel? Do Reese or Karina know why?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So if there was ever, I'm sure you're gonna get
The two academics are underneath the auspicion that we're going back to Grindel to go talk to the Pentapod, which is true enough.
Close enough
And
to the
we're
truth, it doesn't matter. But I was talking about more about so Reese and Karina were the two pilots from Barrier Aerospace. They went with you guys up there the first time.
Yep.
If you guys don't tell them exactly what you're trying to do, or at least give them something to work with, they're definitely gonna be like, "Why are you like don't worry, we're cool with looking out for you and looking the other way as you wander off with this lander, but what exactly are you guys doing?"
Well, I think there was some things about information left at the site that they wanted to recover since the satellite was down. And
Yeah.
I did say something about we were going to repair the satellite so that communications could be restored with
Okay. Yeah. No,
the
that
base.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would satisfy any curiosity those two have. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Um, you do get, as you're getting ready to like seal up the lander and taxi it out onto the tarmac for liftoff or takeoff or whatever. You do get a message from Karina, and she basically insinuates that the lander's fuel range is just barely enough to make it to Grendel on the fuel that
hmm
you currently have, i.e., full tank, barely enough to get there. If you are on Grendel for more than about 2 weeks or so, and I've not assigned like a definitive timeline, but basically, if it takes you more than about 14 to 18 days, you're gonna have a tough time getting back to Beowulf without assistance. Um, Once you get to the Llewellyn station and get the station's power up and running, you can recharge the fuel cells, running it off the station's power supply. So you will, of course, be able to refuel. It's just that the fact that Grendel is moving further and further away from Beowulf, you just don't have the legs to make it out there. And if it takes more than about, like I said, if it takes more than about 2 weeks, you're gonna have a tough time getting back, or you're gonna have to get really creative on how you're gonna get back. Mechanically
So
speaking, I know ships in the newer, we'll say Mongoose 2, they usually have an established number of burns that they can make on a full tank. And what I'm going to say is this: uh, whatever fuel it would take for you to lift off, get into orbit of Beowulf, so you can get your rendezvous set up for Grendel, and then actually getting out to an orbital capture around Grendel, you will then have 3 burns remaining, and you will need at least 1 burn to break orbit and land on Grendel. Does that make sense to everybody, at least from a mechanical standpoint?
Yep.
All right. So I know you're talking about checking out these survey satellites and comm satellites and whatnot. So basically, what you're gonna have to do, we used one of the burns on Krieg. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, that's Jesus Christ. That was actually pretty good. Oh my God. God damn it, Wiggles. um. Yeah. So basically, once you get to Grendel, you'll have like 3 burns left, one of which you must use in order to descend onto the surface of Grendel. Everybody good on that so far?
Yep.
In that case, talk to me about your plan to get to Grendel before you actually start doing that final. All right, the tower's giving us clearance for departure. Let's bump the power up to 110% and get off the ground and get into space. What is your plan?
Is there any way for us to? Are there any kind of like bladders or anything like that we could put in the cargo hold at
Well,
this short of a notice to hold fuel?
No,
No.
certainly not at this conjunction.
Okay.
Not at this point. It's like
Right.
if you want to get out there now, and you're getting ready to actually like taxi and shit, like no, that's absolutely not. The other concern you have too is like whatever you try to take off the planet with you is going to weigh you down, which can conversely,
Right.
really fuck up your thrust to weight ratio and all that shit.
So yeah, the LC-10 has 8 burns available.
Sure, we're just gonna go with the thematic approach of yeah, you got enough fuel to get there in 3 once you make it into orbit and whatever you want to do from that point. So you might want to think about how you're gonna make your actual approach to the Grendel and rendezvousing with the different satellites and whatnot. Because of
Right.
course
Well,
the ComSat and the ServSat do not run on the same orbits. One is a polar, one is equatorial.
Mhm.
Because that's the nature of satellites and shit.
And in it, are they both down or just the comm set?
They are both generically.
Because
They're
I thought they
both down.
piggyback off of the surf.
So the gist of it, and we can assume Grimaldi's trying to explain some of this, and he may or may not understand everything either. Effectively, so the survey satellite communicates with the ground station, insofar as this is the satellite. The survey satellite is what they use to like map the planet, and the survey satellite is obviously in the polar orbit. Anybody that doesn't understand orbital dynamics is if you're in a polar orbit, you put the inclination at an exact correct number of degrees, you will eventually have that satellite pass over literally every square inch of the planet's surface, thus allowing you to get a good map, which is the whole point of the survey satellite. Now, your communication satellite, in theory, could probably be on any kind of orbit, whether equatorial or polar, and inclination really probably wouldn't matter, because it really only needs to have line of sight between it and the ground station and wherever else that information is being communicated to, i.e. other planets in the system. What that means for you guys is that when you set up your initial approach to Grendel from Beowulf, you can have it so that when you rendezvous, you can enter either the equatorial or the polar orbit. But if you want to work on both satellites, EVA style, you'll have to adjust your orbit, which will take a full burn. Right. Now, with the communication satellite and the survey satellite working together, and I'm probably giving you a little too much right now insofar as like giving away all the answers. If you get both satellites up and running, it gives you a slightly larger modifier for some of the roles that are coming up later in this session. You can get.
We definitely want to fix those on the way in for sure.
Yeah, and now alternatively, there is the option, and this is another thing that Grimaldi would have brought up, is that you can also choose to land, get a full tank of fuel once the power is back on at Llewellyn, and then go back up. But that also may not necessarily be the smartest way to go about it either when you start thinking about how long it's going to take for all that to take place. Because, it's going to take probably a number of hours to get the station power back on, and then another bunch of hours to recharge the fuel cells on the lander, plus a few more hours just to get up into orbit, into position, rendezvous with the satellite, fix it, more hours to adjust your orbit, rendezvous with the other satellite, fix it, and then maybe another hour to 2 hours at the most to land again and start the refueling process while you wander off and do other things. Which go ahead.
While we're headed towards deep freeze, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, there's smart ways, and then there's time constraint ways. And Wiggles, we surveyed 100 players, and these were their responses for things that can go wrong going to Grendel. Number 1, frostbite.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, that wouldn't be number 1. But I think fuel mismanagement would be one of them. So, what's our plan, guys? What do you want to do? Or how do you want to do it, I should say.
So we decided to buy tickets, and we're just going to go back to Earth, and we're going to get some office jobs, and just kind of retire and just say this is a bunch of fucking nonsense, fucking petapods and terrorist groups, whatever. This is bullshit. That's the plan.
Okay, so Wiggles is voluntarily withdrawing from the competition. That's what I'm hearing. He is ringing the bell. Oh my God.
I think once we get to orbit, we should at least top off our burn fuel, that it took us to get up here.
Well, you won't be able to do that necessarily.
Oh, because we're going to use a burn getting away from the station anyway, right?
Well, so Llewellyn Station is on the ground.
That's the.
Oh, you're talking about when you get to.
Talking about.
You're talking about actually landing.
Now, when we take off from Beowulf
and
attain orbit, can we refuel the burns that it took to get up there? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let me walk you through what I'm hearing, and we can see where the break is. So your question is or your intent is to refuel in orbit, but which planet are you orbiting?
I'm talking about Beowulf. So as soon as we take off, it's going to take a certain number of burns to reach orbit.
Yeah, let's just say 3. I don't know what it would actually be, but...
And there is... Dang it, Cat. You just turn my TV off.
I mean, we're not doing
there's-
anything on the screen right now anyway, so.
Oh, shit. Anyway, it takes a certain number of burns, depending on the planet size and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, about attaining orbit. So,
Right.
but the station is still going to be within the well, right?
Yeah. In theory.
So
Oh, yeah, it'll
take-
still be in orbit. At
It would
some
still take
angle.
one burn to get away from the station.
Right. One burn and then one burn to break and one burn. Actually, I'm not sure. I think ultimately it's going to be a minimum of one, no more than two, I would imagine, to get sufficient velocity to make the rendezvous. I'm sure we could, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to do math or anything like that because that's what NASA does, and they're far better at it than I am.
I'm just wondering if it's beneficial for us to stop at the station and top off, or is it going to leave us with the same amount of fuel no matter what?
I think that's where we'd have to get into the rule book and crunch numbers, and frankly, I'm not going to do that. What I would suggest is let's just say anywhere between 3 and 5 burns. Just because my intent initially. So you said it takes 8, or it can carry 8 burns of fuel, correct?
Yep, it has 8 burns of fuel. Yep.
Then it must have taken at least 3 to 4 to get up into orbit of Beowulf, and then another one minimum to break orbit and get on the way to Grendel. So because I said already or established that you're going to arrive at Grendel with 3. You know, once you make orbit around Grendel, no matter what that orbit is, you now have 3 burns remaining.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be 3 to get in orbit, 1 to break away, 1 to capture. That's 5, and that leaves you with 3.
So if we refueled in orbit, then we
Mhm.
would only be missing 1 burn of fuel once we head towards Grendel.
Right. Now, conversely,
That would give us a better margin of error.
right.
You know?
The other condition or consideration with that is because you're not literally just driving up to the Shell station and throwing a hose into your fuel tank. You're literally plugging in and converting energy to fuel, essentially, because that's what a fuel cell is. Unless I'm misunderstanding something.
This thing has MHD turbines, so it just burns fuel. It doesn't have fuel cells.
Oh, you're looking at the 2nd edition Mongoose version, aren't you?
The most current one, whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going off the module that was printed for 1st edition.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we're gonna have some conflict, and that conflict is going to come up again later. But well, let's do this.
I dropped that in chat, by the way. The
What's that?
LC10. I dropped it in the Traveler chat, the LC10.
Which Traveler chat? Oh, in our Discord?
The general, yeah.
Okay.
So it's there if you want to look at it.
Oh yeah. I don't really need to necessarily, but I think we can get it. What do you got in here? Oh yeah, you got the whole shebang. That's the one thing I hate about Discord. Images. I can't zoom in.
Yeah. Well, it cuts at the top and the bottom off until you maximize it.
Anyway, here's what we'll do. At the end of the day, no matter how you slice it, whether you fuel up in orbit, you'll end up with no more than 4 burns of fuel once you get to Grendel. And that's just pretty much like no matter how you slice and dice it, that's just what you're gonna end up with. That's still plenty to maneuver with in case you make mistakes. I see somebody's flipping my tokens around.
I wonder who that would be.
Honestly, I don't know. If I had money to put on it, I'd just be like, I don't know which one of you fuckers did it. So it's like I can't figure it out. I'm not gonna, because I wouldn't definitely not put it past Wiggles to do it. Anyway,
What did I do? I probably did do it. But what did I do?
just flipped our little player marker.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
I mean, like, I'll over the stuff. Yeah, no, I rescinded that.
Okay, an awful lot of discussion about orbits and fuels. Here's what I want. You are currently in orbit around Beowulf, waiting for your window to break orbit and get into the I guess technically it'd be the trans-Grendel injection, I think would be the technical term. So, what are we doing? You want to go ahead and initiate that burn when it's ready? Is there anything else you want to get into? I'm going to be asking asking that question on with similar flavors frequently, just not to kill time, but like You have time available. Is there a conversation or a scene that anybody wants to do while you're sitting in orbit around Beowulf, waiting for that window?
Well, we never did decide who all's on the lander.
Well, this is what I'm tracking, and it's basically everybody that I mentioned earlier. It's just that the one that we officially removed or disallowed was Barbie Walker.
Okay.
I don't think there was anybody else in consideration. I could be wrong, though.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was any other station personnel that were going to be coming.
No, just Grimaldi and
Okay.
the professor from the xenoanthropology department.
Okay.
Charles, I think you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there and just
Sucking your
doing
thumb.
my. No,
Sorry.
I'm not sucking. I'm not sucking my thumb. No, I'm doing my best. How do I say this? Going through the mantra. So I'm just like.
Hey, can you humor me for a quick second and just double check your mic, because whatever exactly you were doing got cut out.
So it's pot legal on Beowulf. Can we just buy our German friend some edibles and let him just chill?
No, so I was going on. I was saying, I'm going through the mantras of whatever my therapist that Tankerson hooked me up with.
Okay, so you got a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Why don't we just say I talked to him? So I'm just sitting there like, space won't hurt me. Space won't hurt me. And stay inside, it'll be okay. And then just sitting there, just like being like that kid in the back, like, are we there yet? Can we get out yet? Yet?
At my old school, we never went to planets to go talk to aliens for our grounded ship.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to picture this, because this is like almost like a 737 or something like that, and except you're stuck on it for the next 20 hours cruising through space at subliminal speeds. Subluminal.
Right.
Sorry. Subliminal. Jesus Christ. I thought I said it right the first time too. Anything else? What are the I almost said what are the Wiggles doing? What are the Wyatts doing? Or are they just kind of chilling out, enjoying the view?
No. What we're probably doing is we're going over the schematics of the satellites that we're about to repair, and then we're going through and making sure we have the available tools to open it up, and then and all that jazz. Right. We're just going through the review process of what needs to be repaired.
Rehearsing your plan, or modifying the plan, or yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You're going through the checklists. Okay. Yeah. Well, unless there's anything else, I need a piloting roll from our pilot. Before you make that roll, I want you to tell me what kind of orbit you are attempting to achieve around Grendel.
I think communication satellite first.
We're going equatorial. All right. Go ahead and give me a piloting roll. Piloting, intel, or in education, whichever you feel is more appropriate. You do not have your wonderful neural connection.
Yep.
That means you just basically roll the dice for the effect.
Yeah, that was a 9.
Okay.
And that's manual piloting. Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing this analog stick shift.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, once you break orbit and you get your initial vectors figured out and everything else, all the projections look good for an arrival at an equatorial orbit around Grendel in about, I'll give you 18 hours instead of the 20, just because you had an effect of 2 there.
I'm going to tell Paul Gray
Mm-hmm.
to stay on those sensors, like we're in combat. Stay on
Like
those sensors.
we are in combat. Okay,
That's
well,
right.
Paul Gray is probably going to fall asleep at the sensor terminal, but somebody give me a roll for sensors, and I'm looking at its modifiers. Let's give him a total of +2. And then let me see what my notes say.
I got an 11.
You rolled an 11? Hold on.
Yep.
I don't believe you. You rolled an 11.
He did.
In that case,
piece of shit. That's not 11. That's a 2.
All right. Well, as it turns out, a few hours in, and Paul Gray says, "Hey, So you really wanted me to stare at this sensor screen, yeah? And he's
Yep.
saying this to he's saying this to whoever might be closest to him in whatever passes for a flight deck.
That would be me.
Okay. Yeah, because obviously as a pilot, you don't have to stay right in the seat the
Right.
whole time. You can probably set reminders, or have the computer ping you if you vary from your flight path by anything more than like a few degrees or whatever, whatever the case might be. But yeah, if you're sitting right there, then Paul Gray's gonna be like, "So funny, what do you make of this?" And he shows you on the screen that there appears to be some sort of leakage of heat somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,000 kilometers or 10,000 kilometers behind you.
Okay.
Whatever sounds more appropriate for something realistic space distance. Probably
Okay.
10,000 kilometers. But even then, I still feel like if something were that close to you, that's really fucking close.
Yeah. So I asked him if he can open a channel
To
to whatever that is.
Well, at the moment, it only identifies as some sort of heat leakage. Like this,
Right.
it's just basically like, and the only thing that makes it look like a heat leakage is the fact that, like, if you imagine water flowing, and then this current view or visual that you're getting is that it's like spewing into open space, but it's not
Right.
like high velocity or anything. It's just spewing.
Well, we've had enough of this going on that I tell him, let's just pretend
this is not my first rodeo.
Right. Let's just pretend that's a ship for now, okay?
let's
And
stop
so-
bullshitting. That's got to be a ship, right? There's nothing else.
Right. And so I'm gonna say, hey ship, 10,000 clicks off our stern. Can we help you with something?
You do not get a response.
Mhm. So does it change position at all? I tell Gray to keep watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a significant amount of time passes by that you're like, well, if they were going to respond, they
Mhm.
would have said something by now, and they never do.
I don't really expect them to.
No, of course not. He spotted the stealth boy. Why would he?
Right.
Why would he say? Why would he confirm that you spotted the stealth
Yeah.
boy?
I just want them to know that.
Yeah, I think like an hour later, Gray's like, "Yeah, I don't see that thing anymore."
Okay.
In fact, let me
wait.
rewind this a little bit, and it looked like they kind of did a hard left, well, a lazily listing left, but eventually it was a hard left.
Yeah, no. So they have this conversation in the cockpit, and like we can all hear it, right?
I feel like, I don't know, what does that flight plan or deck plan look like? Is it got a solid separation between flight deck and cargo or crew or whatever?
Got to keep them separated.
The other acceleration couches are in a different room. There's 1, 2, 3 doors in between the cockpit.
Okay,
and the
yeah. So this
acceleration couch.
conversation is probably pretty localized.
Well,
So
okay.
I'm gonna tell Gray, that's what I was expecting. I said, once we reach orbit, I want you to get on those sensors again, just like that.
I'm gonna set a macro for the computer to ping me if anything comes up, and I'm gonna go close my eyes because it looks like we've got another 12 hours to go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna head back to the acceleration couches, and I'm gonna let Wyatt.
I think Gray is not quite racing you to the door, but he's definitely at the door about the same time you are. It's like, I already had that macro set. I just needed you to look away so I can hit enter.
And I'm just gonna let them know that we did pick up, another stealth ship, ghosting us, following us. I did issue a comm to it, which it didn't respond to, and eventually it kind of peeled off. But I don't expect that's the last we'll see of it.
No, probably not.
God damn it. Okay, can I get a laser comm to Babel Space Traffic Control?
Ooh, that's a great question. Yeah, I think Gray just looks at you and he's
He's
like,
damn it.
yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I just wanted to take a nap, man. But yeah, we could probably bounce a laser off traffic control.
Yeah, no, yeah. I want a laser. I don't want a radio. So I want to have a private channel with Space Traffic Control.
Okay. I have no idea what the actual distance would be, but I feel like there's probably like a 10 or 15 second delay. As far
Ooh,
as
that's super far. That's like beyond the moon distance, which is fine and everything like that.
Well,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I mean this is like
That's
20
like-
hours at subluminal speed, so
Yeah.
What's your message consist
Baywell Space Traffic Control. I don't know where the fuck. What's our ship called? What's our identifier?
of? Probably BA 101 and BA 102 would be the other lander, so pick one.
This is BA 101. On track to Grindel. En route to Grindel, our sensor log showed us being tailed by an unknown ship. We fear it may be pirates. They did not respond to hails, and they were closing in our position.
I think you get a message back probably about 30, 45 seconds later. BA 101, this is Beowulf traffic. Say again? Pirates?
We'll forward you our sensor transmission. This is not the first time BA 101 has spotted max ships in and around Grindel when there should not be any. And with the Darendelle and other ships that have been attacked in the air recently, we are concerned that it may be pirates.
The Durandal, you say? That story's a myth, I thought. The Durandal, by the way, happened like 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that part. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought the Darendelle wasn't that long ago. Let me rephrase that. I thought it was more recent than that.
No, but there was recently, as in the last 2 weeks to a month, a number of pirate activities out in the outer system. So the call that there might be pirates near me now is not terribly unreasonable.
Yeah,
well, there was pirates on our way in.
Yeah, there was pirates in the outer system, and also the subcraft which managed to rendezvous with the Wayfinder not too long ago. We appreciated if Beowulf can send a patrol craft over this way.
All right, BA 101, I have your sensor data. This is anomalous behavior, so we will be checking it out further. And if anything comes up that we feel the need to inform you of, we will reach out to you.
Roger that. Thank you for the reassurance. If we spot anything else, we'll be sure to forward it to you.
We appreciate that as well. Safe travels.
Safe travels. Shit. Why did I say safe travels? They're in a fucking comm center. They're not going anywhere. God damn it. And he storms off back to his wife.
That was fucking amazing. Oh,
as he's walking
man.
away, he's walking away. I'll say, at least you didn't say "I love you."
Oh my god, that would have been hilarious. Okay, let me update my board over here real quick and confuse the viewers by adding an additional day here. While I'm doing that, is there anything else you guys want to do prior to arriving in orbit around Grendel? Anything else we need to get into? Any scenes anybody wants to do?
Do we have a color printer on board?
Sure. I doubt it, but what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to print a window with a nice idyllic forest setting to put on the wall beside Helwig's seat. So if he wants to look outside and pretend it's not space, he can.
I don't think not Grendel. I don't think the lander comes with any sort of print capability. I'm sorry.
Probably not.
Yeah, all right. So we are in orbit around Grendel. It is pretty early Wednesday morning as far as standard time goes. It's been about 18 to 19 hours in transit. You have made it into orbit. I'm not going to make you re-roll that just yet. Now, what I do need, though, is who is going out to go work on the ComSat?
Helwig.
Wait, what?
Meanwhile, Helwig pops his head up and is like, what? What? No!
Yeah.
No, I'm here to,
goes,
like, shoot things, right? Maybe
Yeah,
drive a
yeah.
vehicle?
Yeah, he basically sticks his head and goes like he was asleep. He goes, wait, what? No outside. Outside only on ground.
Yeah.
No ground outside.
No, the Wyatts are going to tag team that.
Yeah, no, the wife and I are gonna go outside and start repairing the thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna support to her actual, engineering acumen.
Yep. Now, quick question, because I can't get a good view of that. Can't see a good image. Is there an actual airlock or something that would be close enough to approximate an airlock?
Well, there's got to be
Right.
an airlock. Here, let me.
It looks
I
like
mean,
there's
so-
one. I think it's. I'm looking at on my screen.
There
It
it
looks
is,
like a
right
number
there.
5, or maybe
Yeah.
8. I can't tell. I'm
It's
looking
on
at.
the
Go ahead.
in the bottom left quadrant there.
Yeah.
You can see that airlock on the outside. I can't see the number because I'm too far away from the TV, but I think it's 5.
And I'm
Yeah,
looking
it's
at it
5.
on my monitor, which is still
Yeah.
really tiny. Okay.
Yep.
In that case, no concerns there as far as any sort of explosive decompression or what have you. This is what I will need. First, I will need a vac suit intelligence 8+ from anybody going outdoors.
what, rolling dice in this role-playing game? That's
It's
bullshit.
I know, it's so hard. So go ahead and give me Mrs. Wyatt first.
Oh yeah, I get her character sheet somewhere else. Let me 1 moment.
I have. Let me see. What do I have?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah, it's
our,
in the
in our
Discord.
super secret monologue where we talk shit about the audience.
You mean where you guys talk shit about me? Let's be honest here. Let's see. Character generation. Nope. That's
Alicia, Vexit 1 and her. You want intelligence?
correct. Because this is
All right.
It's gonna be 2 rolls to complete this task.
All right, she's got a +2.
+2 total.
Yeah.
And looks like we have 1 effect, or -1 effect so far. The other roll I need is electronics computer intelligence 8+ to get the satellite to do its thing.
And in case it matters, I do have a whole gizmo slot things that like cool stuff for that. So like she has like
Oh yeah, whatever tools that
like an
she would...
RCS guns, yeah.
Yeah.
All that. I'm very well equipped to do stuff in 0G.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, what was electronic computers or which one was it?
Computers intelligence 8.
All right, she's got a +3 for this one. Let's go. Don't fuck me over, dice. 10, baby, 10.
All right, and I will take one of those positive effects and add it to that minus effect to cancel them out. So your end result is the communication satellite is now working appropriately and now suddenly in communication with the ground station, and whenever it's pointed that way, Beowulf as well. I believe the next task you guys wanted to get after was to fix the survey satellite so you could actually use it, I believe, to help find the pentapods.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds smart. So
that sounds like what intelligent people would try. All right, in that case, Mr. Pilot Man, once the 2 EVAers are back in the ship, I need you to do a piloting education 8+ to to adjust your orbit so that you can intercept the survey satellite because it's on a polar orbit.
I'm just going to tell the Wyatts just to hang on the outside, and I'll be there in just a second.
Yeah,
if you don't go that fast, that's not necessarily a bad idea.
I think ultimately, when you exit the ship, you have the same velocity as the ship.
Yes.
Until it starts applying thrust, you're good. You just gotta hold on once the thrust is applied.
Yeah, no. The major limitation is our life support in the suit.
Yes, correct. Because you can effectively change your trajectory, but it's still going to take several hours to actually rendezvous with that satellite, especially when you're changing from something like a 90-degree orbit to a 0-degree orbit.
And it might pull their arms off or something like that too.
Yeah,
so.
that would be bad. Generically speaking, that would be bad. You're not a Wookiee either, so
you should make sure and engage shields.
There are no shields.
That's an.
But a friend is welcome under the shield.
All right, Rev, get out of here, Rev. That is a 6 with a total of, I believe, 8.
Yep.
The established lore, being maimed is bad. All right, so yeah, several hours will go by before you're in position to make your final adjustments to rendezvous with the satellite and then close on it to get close enough to do the EVA. But yeah, you are set for rendezvous in about 8 hours.
Good-oak.
Charles, I think you were trying to say something.
No, it doesn't matter right now. We're already past it, so
you were going to say something about Friends in the Shield.
No, I wasn't even going to say that. No, I was actually going to just mention that Milligan needs to do is do like the old trick of hey man, come on, get in the car, and then you just speed up a little bit.
What are you waiting for? Get in already. Come
Oh,
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Yeah.
we don't have enough burns for all of that.
All right. Well, fortunately for you, you did not waste any burns by missing the 8+. So you are down at this point to, I believe, just 2 burns because you should have arrived with 3. Or did I say 4? I don't remember now.
Oh, you said 4. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go with 4. So you used 1 after your capture burn, which is what put you at 4. You've used 1 now, so you have 3 burns left. So if there's any other orbital shenanigans you want to get after, well, now is not the time because you haven't fixed that other satellite yet. All right, but otherwise, good.
Does Gray see anything on the sensors?
Well, let's have Gray make that roll, and I need to see his whole score again because I don't remember. I believe it was, let's see, 1 and 1 for education, so +2. Somebody want to make that 2d6 roll, or you want me to do it? I don't care.
Hang on. Let me.
Charles finally making a roll for the first time in like 6 episodes. Ooh!
Yeah, you did a bad roll. This is what we let you roll, Charles. God.
Well, I rolled 11 to start with. Come on.
So no,
That's
long
a roll
story.
too.
All right, so long story short, Gray, when you poke your head into the flight deck, however many times you might do it over the course of however many hours, every time you poke your head into the flight deck just to check on Gray and whatever sensor data he might have, he's like, no, nothing weird. We are still on track to rendezvous with that satellite in about 3 hours.
Okay.
Anything you guys want to do before we get to the EVA rolls?
I mean, the only thing I'm doing is I'll be relieving Gray occasionally because I think I got sensors from training last time. So I have his. Let me find it.
It'll be a sensors education roll if you want to make a roll. I think you should make a roll if you're gonna sit there.
Street. Read that word. Oh.
Sensors is under electronics.
Yep. Electronics. Thank you. Yeah. So I have a sensors. So I'll do it for grins and giggles myself, replacing it from one of the routines while we're sitting there.
All right. It'll be sensors education.
Okay.
And make your roll. What do you got for education? I don't remember off the top of my head.
I got a 1.
Boom.
1
and a sensors 0.
So that's a 12.
That's an 11.
That's an 11.
That's
okay.
an 11. Yep.
So yeah, again, yeah, you pull you sit on the sensors thing for a few hours, and you get little bits of pings and pongs and bips and bops, but nothing out of what otherwise would be considered normal. Like every now and again you'll pick up some ship, but it's clearly identified because there's a matching transponder signal. You'll pick up a couple of the satellites around Grendel or something like that, but nothing at all out of the ordinary.
Right.
So either you're in the clear or you just suck.
And that's what I'll report to Milligan and.
Are you gonna say it just like
else.
that too? It's either there's nothing out there, or I suck at reading this data.
Yeah, it's all Greek to me. That's what I'm reading.
It's all ones and zeros, man. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. We are now rendezvousing with the second satellite, the survey satellite. So I need the vac suit. What did I say it was? Vac suit intelligence 8+, for whoever's going out to turn the wrenches on it. That looks like an 8. All right, and then electronics computers, I believe. Let me double check. Electronics computers intelligence 8+, and that is a smashing
15.
success. All right, that actually gives you fucking 7 effect. In that case, Milligan, I need you to make another piloting roll. Assuming you pass this, this will be
Ooh.
6, and what do you got? +2 total.
Yep. Ooh, barely made it. Yep.
Yeah. You notice that too. You're like, man, why is this so hard? Like, I know Llewellyn's right there. I know I need to adjust to this inclination. What is so difficult? Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay. Yep. I forgot to account for, I don't know, the Tokyo drift.
Forgot to account for it being an LC-10.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here's the issue. Somebody flipped the satellite evil. Yeah, that final roll was to make your orbital what do they call it? Deorbit burn.
Insertion.
Yeah,
Yep.
deorbit burn. And it looks like you're gonna be landing on the planet with next to no issues. So at this point, this is what you have affected by the time you land. Survey satellite is functioning correctly, and it can start doing data dumps via the maser, which is the ground station, every few hours, every 5 hours. And with the ComSat, that survey satellite is effectively in continuous contact with the ground pretty much all the time. The worst case is just that, basically if you go on to do any sort of specific task, there will be a quick check just to make sure that the two satellites are in range of the maser. And it'll be something like rolling like a 6+. And if you miss it, it's just because for the next hour or two, the two satellites magically happen to be out of alignment with the ground station at Llewellyn. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Otherwise, you're good to go. At
So
this
what you're
point,
saying is you're not actually modeling the orbit mechanics for us, that you're just bullshitting it?
listen,
That what
I
that
can
what I'm
only
hearing?
I can only describe so much of the orbital dynamics. I can't model it. Okay. Besides, have you seen my
Yeah,
face? I can't model shit. Alright. I am going to bump us up another day ahead because I feel like somewhere in the neighborhood of about 16 to 24 hours have expired or gone by since arriving. So now it is Thursday, the 18th of June, which is actually my mother's birthday.
not that big of an issue. Yeah.
And we're going to say it's relatively early in the day standard time, but it looks like it's only been a couple hours since sunrise, so it's still kind of dark, twilighty, not necessarily full-blown sunlight on the ground. Do keep in mind, if you don't remember, Grendel has a 70 to 80 hour rotational period. So this arriving here now with the sun just coming up from the sun rising side, I couldn't remember if it was east and west or not. But yeah, with the sun just now coming up, this is a good time to be arriving. Grimaldi's probably talked about this a number of times. I feel like he would have gone into lecturer mode and been like, since we were here last, the college has sent people up to mothball this place. And so what that means is there are a number of tasks that need to be completed prior to the station being effectively up and running enough for us to do what we have to do. The first step is getting the power system up and running, and then getting the logistics module up and running. Because without the logistics module up and running, we won't be able to do life support and heat. So our first task, and I feel like at this point, like he's actually starting to talk about this once more as you guys are like suiting up and getting ready to disembark. Now that you're on the ground. If we kind of do a little bit of hand waving and assume that one or two people go and do this task and one or two people do the other task, other than the fact that the power module needs to be done first before the others are done, we can kind of break this up, but it's still going to take roughly 18 hours, I think, just to give us some more time crunchiness. I think it'll take somewhere in the neighborhood of about 18 hours to get everything up and running. Let me double check my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything there.
Well, Milligan's going to grab a couple people and use them to help tie the ship down, right off the bat.
That's an amazing idea, and I actually have a note in here. I need a quick mechanic intelligence 8+, so that whoever's doing it can get the lander secured against the next time there's a storm, which will probably be later in the local day. Mechanics intelligence 8.
Who's got a better mechanics than me?
Probably the Wyatts.
Actually, I can do this with my bridge. It just takes me twice as long.
Explain to me how that
Yeah, no,
works, because effectively what you have to do is you're ratcheting some, I'm going to say ratchet straps, but they're not ratchet, there's like solid steel cables.
Right. Well, I mean, anywhere that I could mess up, this is basically going to be, this is a reference library chip, a mechanic reference library chip.
Okay. Okay.
I have it at level 3.
Uh-huh.
And so it's just like, if I'm having problems with the tool, well, I look the tool up, so that's why it takes twice as long.
Gotcha. Wiggles
because
is
I'm having to
typing
reference.
something. Wiggles is typing something in TTS. Built-in YouTube tutorials.
That's,
Yep,
that's pretty much it.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what that is. All right. What do we,
So
okay.
that winds up being an 11.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yep.
Ship is secured from being blown away in the next big storm.
Good.
The next thing I need is we need to get the power situation going here. So this is going to be getting the station up and running is a combination of 3 projects, each taking roughly a day. We've condensed that a little bit because we can divide up the labor. Power module is going to require 2 roles. I would prefer to not have the wides do everything. Even though these are...
This is what we're good at. You know, this is actually what we're really good at.
Well, the only reason why I say that is, one, I don't want to overuse a player, but also, if the Wyatts are doing all the work, it's definitely going to take a full 24-hour process to get everything up and running adequately for all of you.
Well, let's put them on the power at least to start with.
Sure,
'cause we need
absolutely.
that
That's where I'd
super
put them.
quick. Yep.
It's definitely
And
where
then
I'd put
some of
them.
and we can't work on the other stuff until the power's up anyway.
Right, and then obviously everybody can help out with
Yep.
the, like, here's an extra pair of hands. What do you need me to move?
Yep.
The solar panels have been dismounted and they're currently stored in the garage. So this task is going to require people to take those solar panels out of the garage, open them up, attach them, etc., etc. The first role is going to be an engineering power, dexterity 8+, and this is the actual physical attachment process. And I'm assuming when I wrote power, I don't recall exactly what the specialization is, but it's an engineering and whatever it is for power system management, etc. Does that make sense to you, Wyatt's is?
Yeah. Yeah, so George is gonna do this, and George is gonna see what he fucks it up. Anyway, +2, let's go, baby. +2, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Okay, I think what happens is George goes out, and he's definitely like, all right, let's go. Let's get these solar panels hooked up. And you get like an hour, maybe 2 hours in after so it'll take like an hour just to get them out of the garage. People are kind of trundling around trying to help carry these big ass panels. In the fact, never mind the fact that they're wearing these basically spacesuits that are extra bulky because of the weather. And you get like an hour or 2 in, you think you start getting the bolts lined up, and here comes your wife with her box of tools. And she's like, you got the right idea. You're just doing it all wrong. You need to use...
I am not doing it all wrong. I can connect solar panels.
You're using the wrong bolts, for one, and 2, conversely, or subsequently, you're using the wrong spanner set. And she kind of, I won't say, she's not going to throw the toolbox. I feel like it probably weighs a significant amount. But she definitely drops it right in the snow at your feet. It's probably not even snow, it's like mud. Right at your feet. It's like, use that one after she shuffles around inside it for a moment. And basically, she's going to give you a free reroll. Because that's what good spouses do for their partners. There you go. See, if you just... oh my god, this is classic. I think what she does is like... It's definitely one of those... Next time, listen to me first, not after you fuck it up. But she says it playfully, of course. Well, maybe a little bit of sternness to it. The second part of this particular task is now that the panels are actually hooked up, somebody needs to go in and get the computer to activate and start aligning the solar panels so they actually start catching the sun, and then whatever other programming that might be involved with keeping the panels in the proper alignment and all the tracking and power monitoring and all that craziness. So this will take an electronics computer intelligence 8+. Who's going to make this roll?
I've got a total bonus of 2. Is there anybody else out there that would be more apt for that?
Or what type of roll? I'm sorry.
Electronics
Computers,
computer
electronics
intelligence.
computers.
Okay, so I got a +1 on my computer, so yeah, let me try that. Okay.
This is arguably the most rolling we've done without having people shoot at
6
each other.
with a 3, it's a 9.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Look at that. All the lights in the station, including some floodlights on the exterior, they all just go... All the lights come on. Bing, bing.
How was that?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know what lights sound like when they turn on, okay? There might be a shower of sparks at one of them, but you come to realize that it's just a light bulb that got blown and not necessarily the light itself being fucked up, just the light bulb. But yeah, everything is powered up. Power is now running, and after probably about 20 or 30 minutes, power is running adequately. God, what's the word I'm looking for here? Level amounts of power. Like instead of fluctuating from like 5 to 10, everything's running right solid 7. I don't know. I'm not a power guy, so just humor me when I say shit like that. Now that power is up and running, you can now plug in the ship to recharge the fuel cells, and that's just going to be a regular just engineering power education 8 for whoever's going to make that, which doesn't necessarily have to be run right now, but you know, under the auspices of you never know when you're going to need the lander to make a hasty retreat back to civilization, probably not a bad idea to fuel it up as soon as possible.
Heck yeah.
So that's
So that won't be me. I
Yeah.
don't have any engineering.
that will be one of the Wyatts most likely. Engineering power and education 8.
All right. Let's see. Education. Miss White's got a B in education, which I believe is a +2.
What
So
is
this is
Dell?
power.
B is actually going. B is 11, so that's that's +1. Sorry.
Okay.
What does
Ooh.
It's 9, 10, 11, right? 6 to 8 is 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
$900 the last one.
God damn, she got a 6.
Is this where George gets a little bit of comeuppance back? And he comes up and he's like, no. That's not how you do it. Come on, you know better than that. Let me show you how it's supposed to be done. Or maybe it's one of those things where she doesn't understand because, you know, she's used to like whatever system she learned on and whatever else she did. And then she got used to doing things the Wayfinder way. And this is an LC10 that's been around for like 20 years and is like a generation or two behind as far as fuel cell technology goes. So is Mr. Wyatt going to assist and give her that spousal reroll?
He comes in and he sees that she's frustrated with the fact that they used a non-standard fix for this. It's like, oh no, they just let a bunch of fucking engineering students jank this up. This looks like a patchwork job that we used to do all the time at Barnard Star.
Yeah, there you go. That works. All right, go ahead and make that roll again. See what we'll come up with. All right, that sounds like the ship's getting. That sounds like the ship's gonna get fueled up in about 8 hours. All right, task 2 or project 2. These last 2 projects, by the way, can be done more or less simultaneously. So the first one is the logistics module. Needs a couple of mechanic tests and then an engineering life support test. And then the 2 habitation modules each need a steward intelligence roll. And then between those 5 roles will bring both logistics and life the habitation modules all up online.
I have a question.
Yes.
When the power came on, did Dell come on, or is that one of the other checks to get him to come on?
It sounds like somebody's been reading ahead, but yes, actually, Grendel did wake up.
What?
Let's see. In fact, actually, Grendel appears to be quite happy to hear you guys are back and is actively attempting to engage in conversation. Anybody?
Is it still weird? Is it still weird like it was when we left the last time?
Oh yeah, absolutely he is. In fact, Grendel is like, also, please don't call me Grendel anymore. Grendel is a monster. I'm Dell. Dell is just a regular guy.
Dude, we got a Dell.
Oh.
Obviously, anybody with like computers too, which may or may not be anybody present, but anybody that's been around computers long enough will probably suspect, and those with a 2 or better will know this is not exactly normal for a computer of this sophistication. Anyway, I do need the mechanics education 8+ rolls for logistics. That will be 2 rolls there. I don't know who's going to make those.
2 separate mechanic rolls?
Yep. Two rolls of mechanics and then 1 of let's see. Mechanics, where is it? and then 1 engineering life support.
Fuck, that sucked. That was that's a 7.
Yeah, that's
It's a 7 at least, but yeah.
All right, Wyatt's doing one of the mechanics roll, and he got an 8.
right.
And then Miss Wyatt's doing the life support, you said,
Yes.
and that is a 9.
Okay. I will borrow some effects and slot them over to the negative ones to cancel them out, and I think it might just take longer, because I'm gonna hand wave that failure into a half-ass success. And I think what it does, instead of taking something like 8 hours to get the logistics module up and running and get the water flowing again and all the volatile shit vented or disposed of adequately, is instead of 8 hours, it's gonna take like 12. So it's gonna be like, one of those moments where you're sitting going like, why is this taking so long? And then you realize, fuck me, I forgot to hit that switch right there. But you don't realize it for 4 hours. Lastly is the habitation modules, both requiring Steward Intelligence 8. 1 for each of the 2 habitation modules.
Does anybody have Steward?
This
No.
would have been ironically, this would be a good time for Tillman to have been brought along. This would have been the one task he could do.
Well, we didn't think about that.
My time to make sandwiches.
So who has the best intellect mod? I think that's what it's
So-
gonna boil down
I think it's gonna be
to.
one of the Wyatts again. Man, the Wyatts are all over this shit.
I'm a
Yeah.
+1
Okay.
for my
So George has Jack of all trades 1, so it's a -2, plus his int roll makes that a -1.
All right, give me a 9 or better. No pressure, man. No pressure.
Oh,
That's your second snake eyes, man. Yep, those sandwiches are gonna stay frozen until y'all can figure out how to power up the microwave. Anybody else want to try, or are we just gonna be eating dry rations for the next few days?
Give me a second. Let me try.
I mean, I have a -2.
Hang on.
Hey, -2 is better than. Well, I mean that's a 10, so it's not really.
Uh,
Oh, what do we got here?
I got a 9. I got a 9.
Talk to me. Show me real quick your math.
Because I have a +1 for my intellect. I have nothing for Stewart.
That's -3.
Yeah. So that's going to be a -2. Oh yeah. So it's but I also have an educational plus. Well, no, you can only just pick one of the characteristics when you're doing this.
Yeah.
So
My
okay. So
math
-3.
says-
So 5 to 6. Then it'd be
Yeah.
a 6 then.
All right, Milligan, talk to me about your math.
My attempt is a 4.
All right, yeah. Looks like you guys are eating out of the ration box. Shits and giggles. I don't have stats for Grimaldi, but I'm gonna make a roll for him, and I'm gonna say he's gonna have at least a +2 for intellect, it's intellect. So he's probably got like a +1 minimum. -3 because he doesn't do shit for stewarding, but he's gotten some time in the kitchen, so maybe, just maybe, we can walk out with a total of -2 here. Nope, I ended up with a 3, so he's actually worse off. He probably has an assistant that does all the cooking for him. Yeah, that -3 really rocked. Rocked our shit here.
So at this point, I guess we just start picking people at random and say, "Hey, go try to turn that on."
It's a stove. Yeah, all you have to do is turn the knob and the flame should come out, right? Yeah. So what happens when you turn the knob? No flame.
Send Paul Gray in there. Let him flip some switches.
You know what? Let me see. I don't think I actually have anything for Paul Gray as far as Stewart, because I think I only put like. Let's see. What is Paul Gray's intellect 0, education +1? What am I hearing? Can I hear you guys?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hear you.
No.
Okay. Somebody must have been standing out on the porch or something. I heard like the sound that Skype makes when you call somebody? Because it sounds like a ring, but it's not a ring.
Right.
Let me think back to 1994.
I know what I just said. I know.
Oh.
Gray doesn't have. I'm gonna say Gray balances out to no modifier. Or either a minus, we'll say -2. Fuck it. That's probably the most realistic. Holy shit,
Hey,
Greg!
there we go.
Greg learned how to make a grilled cheese sandwich and says, you know what? You guys are fucking stupid. First, you got to make sure the circuit breaker is turned on, and then you got to plug shit in, and if it blows, you got to work your way back and start over. So he goes through this long, lengthy process, which sounds ridiculously complex, but yet simple at the same time. You don't understand why you missed it. And now you guys can actually have some hot food instead of eating bullshit rations. The camera pans to the side and shows the microwave is turned off at the power point. Yep, that's pretty much what I just said, actually. Australia's is fucking over here killing you guys.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Listen, sometimes when you get used to things being a certain way and they don't work, you don't really understand why they're not working anymore. So let's go ahead. It is now somewhere in the neighborhood of about, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. On Thursday the 18th. The sunlight outside says it's roughly noon, but of course, you know, it takes twice as long to make a actually like 3 times as long to make a revolution or Jesus Christ. You know what I'm trying to say. What do you guys like? Do you guys want to power down for some time and get some sleep, or do you guys want to try to figure some shit out now and try to press on? You've got about 30 hours. No, that doesn't sound right. It's been like, yeah, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, standard time. But like I said, you know, looking outside, it looks like it's like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. And the weather's being weird, of course. But you know, what are we looking at here? What do you guys want to do?
And also, just to be clear, the pentapod that was outside the airlock is no longer there.
Oh yeah, no, he left long ago. The local weather is somewhere in the neighborhood of. I actually have this written in here. Where is that particular note? Yeah. So the station, when you guys first showed up, the station obviously was still sealed against the exterior environment and atmosphere, but the interior, before the power comes up and whatnot, has been incredibly cold. The daytime highs have been in the 5 degrees Celsius, and as a frame of reference, that's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. That's been the daytime highs for the last few weeks or so since you were last here. He's now in the crawl space waiting for you to fall asleep. Yeah, no, that checks out too. The pentapod is hiding, waiting for you guys. Dell, actually, at about 9 or 10 o'clock at night, after you guys have a few moments to actually like sit back and, you know, you could get out of your hazardous environment suits and, you know, kick your feet up on the table and sit back and have a drink of something that's probably not water. You know, something other than water, I should say. Dell will actually chime in and be like, so I noticed the satellites are working correctly.
You're welcome.
Indeed, thank you. It also seems like the survey satellite is currently running sweeps of the local region.
Yeah, we're trying to find the pentapods.
Pentapod. The plural, several, more than one.
Well, it's okay. Look, there was definitely one out here, right?
Yes, I recall.
And like spaceships are a pain in the ass to operate, even if you can talk up both sides of your ass. So there's probably more than one, and there's probably a spaceship. Because I might not be an expert, but pentapods aren't from here.
No, data seems to suggest they were born and raised on a whole another star system. Yes.
Right, which means they came here on a spaceship. So we're trying to either find them or their spaceship.
Ah, yes. And then I think Grimaldi will pop up. You know, I wonder, that dude did walk here. Like, he came here in a walker. And obviously he's not here now. Maybe somebody came and picked him up after we left. I doubt it. Maybe. I don't know. What if we set the survey satellite for like a 500-kilometer radius? Does that make sense to you guys? I don't think any further than that. Also, 500 kilometers is something like 300 miles, which is the distance you would drive in about 4 hours. You know, if you were driving somewhere around 70 miles an hour. Don't do the hard math because I know I'm not entirely accurate there.
I like how the professional driver keeps on talking about speeding.
I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, 70 is a valid speed limit in some states.
Not in this city.
I'm
Anyhow,
not driving always in the city. I'm on the highway quite a bit.
I want to say sure. That you know what? That sounds like a great plan. So I'm gonna sit down at the computer and upload those
So defensive.
commands to the satellite system.
Okay, so you're gonna refine the what you call it?
Yep. 8. That's a 10.
You rolled computers or communications, correct?
Yeah, computers, and I have a education of +1. Computers of 1, so that's an extra
Okay.
2 on my 8. So
yeah. So yeah, every couple hours you'll get more data over the region around you guys. And Jesus Christ, I spacing at the moment because I just got a text and I realized that I had a text earlier and this is a follow-up text and now I'm not paying attention to anything. Yeah, so like over the next couple of hours, you start receiving more updates every so many hours as the satellite flies over and gets more information, and you can refine your search and whatnot. What I need is for the first 5-hour block a recon intelligence roll. Let me know.
Ooh.
So here's what I'm looking at. First, you get a couple of you get a +2 modifier because of the survey satellite.
right.
You obviously have your own skill and the intelligence modifiers. Somebody just roll me a straight 2d6. Go crazy on it. Dell will, after a bit, realize what exactly you're trying to do. Like, he's already had the conversation, obviously, but he's like, what if you tried this? And kind of refine some of the incoming data, not so much the process of collection, but the refining of the data coming in. So he is also going to give you a +2 modifier. So you're looking at a +4 from the GM plus whatever you've got. I need recon intelligence +4.
My recon and
Go ahead.
my recon and intelligence is a +2.
That sounds like a +6 combined.
Yeah, because I got a 1 on recon and a intellect of 1, so that's that plus the 4 is now a 6. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make your recon roll.
Okay.
And that is a total of 12. Which gives you. Let me double check this here. Yeah, Dell has actually turned out to be quite helpful. Oops, wrong button. Find my. I believe that's the one. Yep, that's the one. You are able to produce this map, and it has located the base roughly here, and it has also found a number of ways in which you may possibly cross the surface of the planet. To get there, I need to fix this map because it's kind of floating.
We watched the Pentapod leave, and you told us he went off to the east.
Right.
With this map, can we deduce that that's the fourth route? Or do we not really know?
You know what? Let me see. I forgot. There was a thing in here for figuring out whether or not, like, if you got enough information, you would have gotten the fourth route, and I don't see it, so fuck it. You found 4 routes.
Oh.
Now the question is it discernible that he probably took Route 4?
Right.
Not with the information you have available.
Okay.
There's no way to know for sure if that's the way he took. I mean, that's the one that would make sense.
Well, it would be 1 or 4.
Yeah.
Leaving him here going east.
So. Yeah. I mean, that's the one that would make sense, but there's no way for sure,
right.
Especially with the fact that over the course of 2 or 3 weeks since you guys were last here, that the weather would have eroded any sort of footprints or any other way to track them in that way.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, it is, again, I want to remind you, it's going on at this point, like, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, even though the outdoor ambient light looks significantly different than that. you do have this map, and you have the choice of taking a break and going to bed, sleeping it off, or what have you, and approaching it in the morning. Of course, you lose. Excuse me, you lose some of that daylight opportunity, but also, regardless of how you approach it, your next task is obviously going to be figuring out like which route do you decide to take, which way do you think is the best way to go.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation I'm looking for you guys to have in character, by the way, like not just me running my mouth.
And which vehicle we're going to take.
Ooh,
yeah, that's important.
Porsche?
No, you're in the mountains. I know this map doesn't really convey it very well, but you're up in the mountains.
So we had to take the Bentley then. Okay.
I'm thinking the one with the backhoe, the Grindelborn or whatever.
That'd be the smart choice, because the Grindelborn has the what's the word I'm looking for here? Longevity.
Is it track?
Well, yeah. It's got the big wide tires.
Okay.
I actually have a token for it, and I'll get that out in just a second. But it's the one that can actually sustain a crew for a extended period of time. In fact, let me pull up my notes on it. The Grindelborn is a large enclosed ATV with long-term life support. It's equipped with an engine that burns carried oxygen in the presence of atmospheric methane, which is the atmosphere of Grendel. It is equipped with a dozer blade in the front, a backhoe in the rear, along with a pressurized cabin that can comfortably support 6 people for up to 14 days. So, obviously, you add more people in there, you start losing time on that life support sustainment. But I will let you guys hash that part out. As for what it looks like, it's not the where is it? Oh, I'm in the wrong. There we go.
And does it need any kind of prep? Are there going to need to be any rolls or time spent or whatever prepping that vehicle, or is it good to go?
You did mention during the week that you wanted to replace or attempt to replace that window pane that was changed out for basically concrete. On the screen for the viewers at home, I am giving a visual representation of the Grindelborn vehicle. If you guys don't remember, if you mouse over it, you don't have to click on it, but if you mouse over it, hold down the Alt button, it'll like zoom in on the picture or whatever.
And you can mouse roll it to make it look bigger.
Sure. Try not to move it too much though, because that's gonna be your actual marker once we get going here. You wanted to replace. I forgot what your response was, but you did want to replace the busted window replacement.
Yeah, I wanted to
with
see if we could
window.
print one. Yeah, if we could print a new window before we
give me a let's say electronics computers intelligence 8.
Yeah, that's not me.
Well, this is to find the. I'll say 6. Give me a 6 on it. Whoever rolls it, and this is simply for finding the correct. I'm going to say STL file. Did what fall?
Right. There we go. Oh, I did something weird.
There you go.
Oh.
Yep, you were able to get the fabricator going on it. It's just going to take a matter of time.
So how much time?
I have no idea. I was going to say, what was your total roll? Because I was going to say 8 hours to get adequate, going on it.
2. So that's +2.
All right, so it'll take 6 hours. Oh, yep. Well, then it'll take 5 hours.
Okay.
Well, then so it'll be ready by like 5 a.m. standard time.
Yep.
Which will be something different.
We pick who's going to go.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is a conversation you guys need to have, by the way, not
right.
me.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So we need to pick who's going to go. There's only 6 seats in there with max life support. If we want to try to save a seat, for anything, whatever, some cargo, whatever. Yeah, we just need to figure out who's going to go, who's going to stay. We need to set up some kind of watch here for those that stay.
Well, you guys, I'm going to try to listen in, but I do need to put some attention on these text messages I'm missing. So I am listening.
And whenever the windshield finishes getting printed, once it's installed, we roll out. The people that are going to go, I would say, should probably rest while that windshield's printing. Somebody else that's going to stay can stick around and install the windshield. And then once we leave, some of them can sleep while the rest of them start their watches. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, that sounds like fine. So one of the person that has to go is our pentapod specialist.
Yep.
And then the other person who has to go is someone with drive, and Wyatt has drive. Does anyone else have drive?
I have a drive
I
for wheeled.
I do not have any drive.
You're gonna need drive wheeled. That's
Yep.
gonna be one of your checks that you're gonna be making frequently. Just FYI, above table, whatever.
Yep, I have driving abilities. I can drivey.
You can
So-
drive E?
I can drivey.
You
I
can
like
drive
driving.
E?
So the
Oh,
three of
okay.
us are going. The Xeno, whatever she is going. That's 4.
Yeah,
Who
and
else?
then plus our big sack of meat and bones.
Yeah, does this thing have
for
cargo?
trading.
I'm surely it does have some cargo space. I guess we need to figure out how much cargo space it has.
Oh, look, it's exactly enough for a big sack of meat.
I mean, we
What?
just
Wait,
throw
I'm
it-
sorry. What did you just say?
Talking
Yeah, it's
about our
enough for a big
meat.
sack of meat.
How much cargo space does this thing have?
Let me look at my notes here. It says 10 spaces. Now, this is another thing I want to bring out. Again, as a reminder / this is what we're just gonna have to do to make it work. This pre-published module that we're running off of is based on Mongoose 1. All of our other rules for literally everything else is Mongoose 2. When it comes to anything regarding the Grendelborn, like if it takes damage at various points along the route or anything like that, we're going to have to run with Mongoose 1 because I don't have a good way to convert from first to second editions. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
In regards to cargo, it says 10 spaces. I don't recall what exactly that means or how that converts to like tonnage or kilograms. Or I
Well,
guess
okay. For
pounds.
simplicity, then our sack of meat is 1 space.
I mean, I'm down with that. That works for me.
Okay. It's definitely not 10 spaces.
No, it's definitely not. Like the most I would say it is like 2 spaces, and only because
Right.
of the way it's, maybe it's long on one side and short on the other. That just doesn't sound right in my head. But you get the idea, like something garbage bag
Yeah.
size, or body. I'm sorry, not garbage bag. Body bag size is what I'm thinking.
Right. Whatever would be most suspicious when we walked out the smart part with.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, I didn't catch
What
that
would ever
either.
be most suspicious when we walk out of the starport?
Yeah, sure. We just walked through
This
the starport with this body bag filled with,
Mhm.
ironically enough, expired meat.
It's
And
not
it's
really a
dripping.
body.
All right. Sorry.
So
I
are
had
we
to-
gonna?
Go ahead.
So that was 4 people. Are we gonna take a 5th?
I don't think so. I don't think we need to
Okay.
take a 5th.
All
Nope.
right.
We have the people who can operate the spaceship. We have the person who would help us best with communicating with them,
Yeah.
and we brought our trade goods.
Yep.
All right. So, for my edification, because I was kind of out of that conversation, who is going to the Pentapods?
The three PCs and the Xeno archaeologist,
Okay. Anthropologist.
anthropologist. Sorry.
All right. And then for clarity's sake, the ones that are staying is
Or all the other
Herb.
NPCs we brought.
Grimaldi.
Everybody else.
I feel like Grimaldi really, really, really needs to go.
Oh, he can go. There's a seat.
The
Yeah.
NPCs are welcome to self-advocate. It'd be hilarious if
Well,
we told
I
the
feel like-
Pentapod specialist he couldn't go. That'd be just be fucking funny.
I feel like Grimaldi would definitely be like, no, I'm going. This is my project. Don't you dare steal this from me. I will let Llewellyn burn in the night in order to go. I don't think he would go that far, obviously, because I also feel like his other pet project is this whole Grendel excursion thing for the college. So that leaves, oh god, who does that leave behind? Blaine staying at the station, Gray staying at the station, and oh boy, that's it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Oh,
Miss
Mrs. Wyatt.
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll put
They can
Blaine
do
in
all-
charge of security.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Wyatt and Gray will probably just take turns, like keeping an eye on things in general, but also just monitoring the Llewellyn station itself. And also, Grimaldi is going to point out that, and obviously the right way to do this would be to actually roleplay the scene, but we don't necessarily have to do all that. But to summarize, Grimaldi will point out that the physical copies of, let me rephrase this, the project and research notes and data and information all needs to be backed up so that there are physical copies of that backed up data that goes back to the university, regardless of the fact that you guys have restored regular communications. Eventually, it's just going to be much more convenient to have those extra copies on hand in a literal physical sense. So that's something that Wyatt, Gray, and Blaine can be working on while you guys are on your cross Grendel excursion.
Okay.
My next question, so now we know who is going and who is staying at Llewellyn. Which route are we taking here? And there are some rolls you can make to attempt to find out more information about these individual roles. We have 1 through 4. 4 looks like the most direct, obviously, and probably 3 looks like the longest. What kind of conversation are you guys going to have? And let me know what kind of roles you want to get after here. Actually,
I don't really want to like sightsee this shithole of a planet, so the longest route does not interest me.
Okay. Does anybody have navigation land?
Oh, I didn't know there was different kinds of navigation.
Well, space.
But I don't have it anyway, so yeah.
There's effectively there would be land, space, probably sea. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a smartass either, but it sounds like I am.
I have it at -2.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, at -2.
I have it at -2
because of Jack of all trades. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Call me silly. You guys have navigation, and then land is a specialization. So, in theory, you could at least get 1 additional -1 taken off because you have the base skill, not necessarily the land specialization. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have it at 0. I don't have it at all.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. And then Thurgor, doesn't Milligan have like navigation? No, actually, they would almost be treated as separate skills.
I have astrogation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Navigation in the book just says about plotting a route planet side. It doesn't even talk about terrain or anything like that. It doesn't make the differentiation between ground or sea or air or whatever.
Okay.
Navigation is strictly planet side.
Navigation land may have been a more specified version in Mongoose 1.
Ah.
Here's what I would do. I will allow recon. Only because that is literally what you are doing. You're doing a map. This is in the military. This is called a map recon. You're looking at a map, and based on the information available to you from that map, you're planning your route. So it's literally a map recon of which way you're going to go. So that's my argument. I will allow a recon roll. Education, 8+. You get the following modifiers on top of your normal skill and education modifier. You are using the survey satellite, and you are also using the local survey data archive. So not only are you getting like the most recent, like up-to-date information, but you also have historical information available. So that gives you a total of +3 right there. Not before you even add in your other shit. You will need an 8+, and then the effect you achieve will give you more information based on what you can glean from staring at this map in the survey data.
All right.
What's your recon?
I think he's got a recon 1. I'm sorry.
I got a recon 1. Yeah.
I got a 1 too. Do you have an education bonus?
Yeah, I have an education +1.
All right, go for it.
That's a total of plus. Am I looking at a total of +5 then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Okay.
Boom.
That gives you 11 with an effect of 3. Route 2, excuse me. Route 2 is actually nearly impossible due to what appears to be a rock fall somewhere along the route. And it's based on what you can glean from the survey data. Like, obviously the survey is going to have a straight up top down look, but you could tell in some of the passes, some of the imagery over that particular section and the shadows that they cast, that's it's a significant, substantial rock fall. It's not something you're going to get through without spending a day or two, like a solid day or two digging. So Route 2 is...
I don't want to spend more time here, so...
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, especially not you. So Route 2 is you could effectively call that a no. Would anybody else like to attempt additional rolls?
Sure.
Sure. Whatever. Yeah, go for it, man.
What do you
Mine's a
got? What are
plus-
you got a plus
plus 4.
3, plus 4 total. So you
Yeah, so
actually
that's
get
just a 7.
okay.
That's just a 7.
Yeah,
Oh wait, no. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Plus 3 from everything else, and then plus my 1 is plus 4.
Yeah, so you get an 8. You actually
So
have an
that's an
effect
8,
of
yeah.
0, unfortunately.
Yep.
But I will give you this. All of the routes appear to have some significant hazards, though nothing that the big crawler can't handle.
Okay.
So you're able to basically give no really good, useful information that can't otherwise be independently confirmed or denied. You're giving a basic generic. Yep, that's a map
Yep.
of shit.
So I'm specifically doing recon specifically on Route 4. And I got a 7.
Okay, so you have a total of 7. Unfortunately, that is a negative effect, which doesn't give you additional information.
That's a route.
Yeah,
So-
that's exactly what you come up with. I will say this. There are a few images or passes of the satellite that it looks like parts of Route 4 actually go underground, but you can't confirm it. It feels more like a suspicion.
Hmm.
At least based on the roll that you were able to generate. If somebody wants to re-roll that for him to find out more, possibly. And this is not one of those, like, you only get one roll. So if you want to make another roll, try to get more information, that's fine. It's just that, for the sake of argument, each roll is the equivalent of about an hour to 2 hours of people staring over this map, cross-referencing with archive data, updating the map based on new information coming in, etc., etc.
Well, I figure we're doing this while the other NPCs are installing that windshield.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that works.
I would say let's focus on Route 1 and 4 right now. Since we don't want Route 3 and Route 2 has a blockage, let's focus whatever we are searching on.
I will say this: the way this
I-
particular mechanic is set up, there isn't focusing on any particular routes. It's just how much information can you glean from staring at this map and survey data before you're not getting anything new. Does that make sense?
So, yep.
All right, so I have a 9 and a 10. What do those turn into?
I think they're both 14s, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 14s, and that's like
Yep.
6 plus.
Yeah. So
yeah.
we're like definitely looking at like Route 2, I guess.
All right, so
Not Route 2, but yeah,
Or
it
not
doesn't
Route
matter.
2. Whatever that one is with the classical underground link.
all
Yeah,
right,
1 and 4.
Route 4 does indeed appear to go underground for what looks like about 50 kilometers, but if that underground area is clear, it is indeed the most direct route. The question is whether or not that underground section that is 50 kilometers or 30 miles long, if that area is actually clear or not, because obviously the satellite can't tell that.
Right.
I will give you an additional bit of information. Route 1 goes through a major water channel, which Grimaldi will point out that at this time of year is a very high potential for a flood. It does appear otherwise to be pretty much the best option, except for, of course, Route 4, but that does have that underground section that you can't see into.
Mm.
So it is appearing, based on the information you guys have been able to piece together, at least from my observation, that it looks like Route 3 might actually be your best bet.
Yep.
If you can tell from this image, which isn't the best image here on the table, especially compared to the published version, Route 3 runs this, and I'm kind of doing this for the viewers in case they're actually watching, but it does run this kind of circuitous route, and what it looks like is it kind of runs along the edge of the base of the mountain, or at some point, not so much the base, maybe like halfway up and down the mountain. So there's obviously gonna be some elevation changes along the way, but from everything you've been able to tell, it looks like it might be the most clear, safe, less hazardous route compared to the others.
But it's like twice as long.
Yeah, and of course it's the one that takes fucking forever to get through.
Mm-hmm. What do y'all think? Wyatt already
Um,
said he didn't want to go the scenic route.
Let's do
Or-
2.
Is there
not-
at
not-
least
not-
a giant
not
ball of
2.
yarn?
No. Well, I mean, I'm getting confused because I look at it. It's like 1, 4, 2, 3. So
Yeah.
let's do 4. Let's get fast, quick, and get out of here.
You want to risk the underground part?
Yep.
Okay. I don't really have a. They're both equally unfavored in their own
Mhm.
little way. So I'll go with whatever the consensus is on this.
If you want Grimaldi's input, he will say that as dumb or as annoying or unsatisfactory as it may be, it does feel like to him that 3 is the better route to go. It's longer. Yes, it's going to take more time, but also based on everything that we can see, it is apparently the clearest route to take with the least likely amount of hazards or problems that we might come across. If you hit, and let me switch to in character for a moment and pretend once again as a reminder for everybody that Dr. Grimaldi has that weird Scottish Italian accent thing going on. I have no idea what that would sound like, so just pretend. But he will start with, first off, you know, Route 1 is that big water channel in the middle of it, plenty of water, high chance of flooding. 2 has what looks like an incredibly deep rock slide. And then 4 has, 50 kilometers or so of completely unknown terrain. We have no idea what's under there.
Yep.
To include, all sorts of geological problems, water, rock, landslide. We don't even know if the ground is stable or if it's just loose sand, which sure the Grendelborn can handle it, but is it really worth that kind of risk of the complete unknown? 3 is incredibly long compared to the others, but it also looks like it crosses not necessarily level. There will be plenty of ups and downs, but it won't be as bad as some of the others. It's longer, going to take more time, but again, I can't stress this enough. In this kind of a situation, we kind of want to go with the lowest possible risk. It looks like 3 is the one. So Grimaldi is clearly and loudly advocating for Route 3. Not because I'm the GM and saying go that way, by the way. I'm just saying that's what Grimaldi would go with. And Grimaldi will, somewhere along his little monologue, point out that he's probably the only person on that planet right now that knows more about that planet than anybody else.
Right.
Although he doesn't know shit except for like a few yards from the station. But
Well, how long, with the terrain that he's encountered around here and his knowledge about the Grindelborn, how long does he think it would take us to go the Route 3?
couple days maybe at the most. Couple days one way. The other routes, day and a half.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this now also as the GM, I can deduce an answer, but I don't have the information directly in front of me because there's spoilers in it. And I would require me to do some math right now, and I'm not going to do that. So basically, 2 and 4 probably about a day. Route 1 would be like a day and a half. Route 3 probably 2 days, and that's a very rough guess, but just we can use that as a rough baseline for any further time considerations.
All right.
All right.
Well, then so 3 is the way to go.
Wiggles?
So what's Wyatt think?
What are the Wyatts thinking?
Does it at least have like a big ball of yarn?
What?
Oh yeah. It has scenic stop offs.
Right, and we're gonna go this really long scenic route. Does it have at least like a big ball of yarn, or like the tallest thermometer, or?
What are you trying? Am I missing something here?
No, if we're gonna go on a road trip, he wants to go see all the scenic sites. So like, the giant ball of
Oh, okay, I got it now.
I thought he.
Wow, I thought he meant. Go ahead. I
said I thought he meant he wanted to spend the time knitting himself a scarf or something.
I thought he wanted to like tie the one end of the ball of yarn off on something so he'll have a trail that he can follow to get back in case he got lost.
Roadside attraction shit.
Here's your roadside attractions: ice, snow, mud, mountain, valley, cliff, ridge.
Just shoot me.
So is it 3 then? We're using 3?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. All right. And then we have, as our final moment, we have a scene where Grimaldi, it's not necessary, but I feel like Grimaldi loves to get on some sort of podium or soapbox or something and give a little lecture. And so he's in that moment and he says, travel on a largely unexplored and hostile world is a very risky undertaking. The lack of anyone to effect a rescue is just part of the danger. Planetary characteristics produce unique travel conditions, and knowing what to do on one world does not necessarily translate into survival skill on another planet. For that reason, an exploratory crawler like the Grendelborn has to have the equipment and resources to cope with the worst the designers can imagine. The Grendelborn is a powerful, versatile design, but due to the unique engine used, the range is less than it should be. It does, however, carry a fuel station, which allows it to crack water to obtain the oxygen that the engine requires. It is tough, powerful, equipped with digging tools and big wide tires, and accommodations for 6 over extended periods of time. It may just be enough. And as a FYI, because we haven't actually mentioned this number, it is close to 1,500 kilometers, which is something like, somebody check my math on this if you want. I think that's like 900 miles.
Sure. Why not?
It's basically 1,000 kilometers, depending on which route you take, and probably closer to 1,500 with going with Route 3. What that means is, go ahead.
So scariest thing on that we can know. Thanks.
Yep.
Scariest thing that we could.
I feel like that's actually Hellwig's in character response to all of that.
Yeah, basically.
Steve,
yeah.
Who was that? Was it Steve Buscemi's character in Armageddon, or was that one of the other guys?
No, that was
surrealistic hellish nightmare
yeah.
landscape or something like that. He said.
yeah, basically, yeah. That no, that was one of the what's his face?
One of the other guys. It's
one of the other
not
guys.
Kevin Spacey. It's the other guy that looks kind of like him a little bit in some ways.
Yeah. He has a brother too. That's an actor. Wilson, one of the Wilson brothers.
Was it one of the Wilsons?
Yes. The guy who played Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyhow.
What time is it? 9:15. Okay.
It's time to get to the Pentapod base.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's what we'll do. We're gonna need to make a handful of rolls.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, right. So here's what. So the game wanted us to make an encounter roll each day that you're on the road, plus a check every 100 kilometers, which for us is going to be something like 12 to 15 rolls, just for traveling, and then one for each day we're on the road. Which, given the fact that you're traveling 100 kilometers at probably like 2 to 3 hours or some stupid shit like that, like that's a bunch of rolling. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say it's going to take about 3 days to get there. And that's
what you think to encounter?
Huh?
What the fuck is it an encounter?
Well, who knows? Actually, I don't think 3 days is right. Let's say we'll make 3 tests for driving and 2 encounter rolls. And encounters is not necessarily like alien creatures or whatever. Who is driving the vehicle?
I will.
Who's got the drive skill? Every day you roll for Xenomorphs. That's what Australis says.
I have a +1 for drive.
Okay. What is your dex? I'm double checking this. Give me half a second here. Yeah, dex modifier.
It's a plus.
Sorry?
I have a +1 for dex.
All right, so that sounds like a +2 total.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and give me that first roll.
Here we go. Road trip.
It's a
that
10.
would be a 10.
All right, so yeah, you are good to go for that first handful of section, and we can go ahead and bump the. We'll save it up to about here. That's where the Grendelborn is. Okay, I'm going to make a 2d6 roll. See if anything weird happens. 8+. I got a 7. Go ahead and give me another roll for your next drive test. Sounds so weird to say it like that. +2 total, I believe it was.
I'd like to have you pull out of the parking lot and make it a safe left-hand turn.
And then suddenly he mashes the evaluator's brake pedal.
Yeah. Actually, all you hear is the click and scribble.
Yep, that too. All right, go ahead and give me another 2d6 roller for your drive test, please.
All right. I can. Ooh.
All right, what are you looking at? 7?
That's a 7.
Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see. We do have some things that happen. Okay. Well, here's what so the original result, vehicle is slowed for that section of the route, adding 25% travel time. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of making 3 total drive tests, you've now incurred a 4th and an additional encounter roll. Stop killing us. All right, encounter roll is a total of 5, so you're good to go. Now go ahead and make your 3rd of now 4 drive tests. Again, drive,
right.
dex, and 8+.
Can you give me that green sauce?
That would be
7.
a 7 again.
Yep.
Oh, is that it? Oh, I'm
So
sorry. I
that's-
didn't know it was right there. No worries.
That is going to add yet another set of rolls for you. So next is the encounter roll.
You don't have to hit all the rocks.
I mean, that's pretty much what he's doing. He's like he's hitting pretty much every rock, every dip, every dop. I don't know what a dop is, but whatever.
He wanted to go on the scenic route. So we're going on the God darn
so
scenic route.
so just to back up just slightly here. So this is what. So here is the where the second leg started, and the intent was to get up to here, and he actually got to here. So now I need a roll that will maybe get you to here. Actually, it would be more like here. Seeing how far you have to go.
Again.
That
ooh,
is,
5.
we're just steadily getting worse. The Grendelborn has no suspension, but all the rations of soup.
Do what?
Something. Check it, TTS chat. I'm sorry. What was the total roll there? 5. Okay, so that's -3. You actually, I need a 1d6 roll, please.
All right, hang on.
Because this vehicle has just taken some damage.
4.
So first I'm going to name it, and then I need to look at right here.
Let's just call it Bob.
Roll 37. 1 second, actually. Roll 37. Structure 38. And as the hull is reduced, and then the structure takes damage effectively. So the hull is the outside. Structure is what keeps the whole thing going. And you just rolled a 4 for the hull, so that is going to change.
Lost our expression machine.
So yeah, the Grendelborn has taken up some damage, and that's going to be some additional rolling. So this is just getting longer and longer at this point. Fortunately, I've not had any encounters yet. I almost had to stop myself there. All right. So instead of being actually in that spot, you're back here, dicking around with running into shit. Please make another drive roll.
All right.
He's like, all right, let's see what more I can do to this thing. 5, that's -1. -1 effect,
7.
I'm sorry. That should clarify.
Okay.
It just slows you down a little bit. You're not making as much progress as you would like, which does give me another chance to make an encounter roll just for shits and giggles. Okay. Go ahead, and maybe at this point, if you make this roll, it will be the last roll. If not,
no whammies, no whammy.
6 + 2 is 8.
Yeah.
You manage on this day to actually get to Pentapod Base, and you've also managed to make it there without any major setbacks, obstacles, etc. And I have to tell you that I have no content prepared for actually interacting with the Pentapods at this point. So that will be the end of the session. When we come back next week, I will have Pentapods for you to deal with.
Nice.
I want to point out that it was entirely possible, based on how the rolls went, if we followed them as written, it's very possible that the Grendelborn could have been severely damaged and causing you guys to actually have to abandon it and continue on foot, which would have been shitty.
How the supposed to do that? Vaccines are rated to survival in hours, not days.
Yeah, I know, right? Depending on what happened exactly, there was the potential, just as a above table thing, there was a potential for the Pentapods actually to come get you. If things got
Is that what the encounter roll for? Because okay, that would have been fine.
So the encounter rolls.
This section.
The encounter rolls were for things like rock slides, floods, other obstacles that could have potentially damaged the vehicle hard enough to cause it to be like ineffective. Like you it's just damaged. You can't do anything about it. Not just damage, but like what's the word I'm looking for here? Rendered inoperable. And if you had done that within a certain radius from the Pentapod base, they would have eventually come and got you because they'd be like, hey, there's some people over here, and they're kind of, well, they fucked themselves up pretty good. Let's go rescue them.
No, this is stupid. Whoever wrote this is stupid.
However, not one of my encounter rolls fucking came up at an 8+, which is not par for the course when I'm trying to get something to come up at a 9 or 10.
And to be clear, I'm not saying you're stupid, Krieg, whatsoever. This whole design concept is stupid, right? Because we're in vac suits that have 15, 20 hours of air, and this is like a multi-day journey inside a fucking car, and they expect us to make that on foot?
No. I think as a GM, I definitely would have said something there. Now, I will point out, of course, that the vehicle has its own internal life support and recharge capability for the vac suits. Not that that necessarily means anything when it's fucking busted.
No, it doesn't. No, because we have to leave it behind. So it doesn't matter if we recharge up the suits.
Yeah.
We're just going to make the same amount of progress every day.
Yeah.
Suit's about halfway done. Let's go back to the fucking vehicle. We can't move.
Yeah, we're just never going to make it. And we're just outside the, I don't know, I think it was like 200 or 150 kilometers, something like that radius. Yeah. We're just outside that, so they're never going to see us because they'll never venture out that far.
Right. And the goal of this adventure is for us to go talk to the pentapods, but they design random rolls, which we can't affect, to make us not do this. And there's no way to relieve it without the GM going, I don't know. Fuck it, you meet them. And if that's the solution, why fucking have the encounter list?
Well, we don't know what those feels
about
this session.
there goes his mic. He made it all the way to right at the end. Wait, is he back? Charles? Can we hear you?
Are you back in popcorn?
I'm back.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
back again.
That was we definitely know how Wiggles feels about today's session, so let's
This session had a lot of rolling, to be totally honest, and I was like, all right, this
one section.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
One section. This whole section's stupid.
I think what I could have done, I could have allowed for a little bit more interaction amongst the players, but I think it wouldn't have been. It just would have been too repetitive, and I'll be honest, like I started with, fuck it, just make 3 tests and we'll see what happens, but you kept failing so many. I was like, I'm just gonna keep adding because I don't know what else to do. Because it's supposed to be slowing you down, right? Like that missing it by 1, it was only supposed to be a 10 or 25% slowdown rate. But I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? I'm just make him add another roll.
But then he fails more rolls. It's just also death, right?
What's that?
Okay, so the car has enough food for 14 days, right? So that means that we could have slowed us down enough to the point where the car ran out of food and air, so we die in it.
Yeah,
right. I mean, like,
that's a valid point. That is a valid point. You're right. You know what? No, I think you know what, Wiggles. I think at the end of the day, I think you are right, or at the very least, you have a point. The way it's designed.
Loud, so that means I'm correct.
I mean, I haven't heard that one in a while. I think you do have a point where it's not mentioned in the text anywhere, which maybe it doesn't need to be because most GMs would have figured something out before the
most of you should have gone this like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I think I could have definitely approached this in a different way, but also,
I'm not upset how you did it. You read a module how it was written, and there's too many design points where it's failure and not because of player agency.
Right. And I think it did add at least a little bit of tension, hopefully, other than the generic, I keep failing these rolls, what's going to happen? I was going to say something else, too, and I already forgot what it was. Oh, as far as the total travel time, by the way, I just changed the date. You guys would have left something like Thursday or very early Friday morning. I just changed it to Saturday. The local time will be maybe you did some driving overnight, and maybe that was part of the reason why it took so long. But we can argue I'm not going to try to do the math on it, and somebody want to leave a comment in the YouTube video, that's fine, but I think we can safely say that by Saturday morning, we're back to local sunrise, just in time to interact with the Pentapods when we come back next week. Yeah, Charles, you're absolutely right. We did get to hear from Wiggles, and he absolutely does have a point. I don't want to downplay that. But for Charles and Thurgor, this is the time for feedback and outro comments, statements, etc. So please hit me with what you got, starting with Charles.
I think it was good. I think the little map threw me for a loop, especially after Wiggles started adding his notes to it. So that's why I kept going.
Loves to type on shit.
That's why I kept going like two. Even though I knew off the top of my head it wasn't supposed to be right. That said, I think taking the long route around was probably interesting, and yeah, the failure of the die rolls, it is what it is, and that's the way the game that's the way it happens. I'm sure it would have been a little more dramatic if like we had a couple of them, and then you barely miss a rock fall or a snowfall or something like avalanche or something like that.
Which could have happened if I had rolled better on my encounter rolls, but it didn't happen. So
right.
And all this what I taught players is don't fucking take vehicles. You have a goddamn spaceship.
Yeah.
Well, actually, on that note, real fast, and sorry, Charles, I'm going to interject just for a quick second. On that note, Wiggles, which you can also chalk up as another possible poor design choice. It's actually mentioned in the text for this module that using the lander, while technically possible, should have a higher target number, i.e. more difficult, because that lander isn't designed for atmospheric flight, and doing a suborbital hop kind of barely skirts that idea. So it's actually like design-wise, they wanted to push you into making this over-the-road trip. And you could interpret that however you like, of course.
Right. I'll put it this way. The fucking lander is not going to kill us by running out of air.
That's a fair point. That is a
But
fair
it might
point.
kill us if we get slammed into the side of the mountain.
Whatever.
Yeah,
we gotta
listen, it's not likely that Milligan's gonna fail a piloting role even without his augmentations, but still there is the chance.
Reese stressed enough times in the past that that it wasn't made to fly in the atmosphere on this planet. So yeah, other than making burns and going back to orbit and making burns and coming back down, and then us have to worry about fuel more.
Yeah,
it just wasn't. I didn't even bring it up as being an option because I figured that was a waste of fuel and run the risk.
The adventure was written insanely, and
Well,
that's my fault.
But even if we just damaged the lander and had to stay here through the deep freeze, that would not have gone well either.
No, because you definitely didn't have the supplies on hand. Let's get back on track though, because I feel like we're taking some of Charles's airtime as it were.
I'm sorry, Charles.
That's okay. That's okay. I will say this. I think in defense of Hellwig's driving abilities, getting up at the crack of 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it was, with just a few hours of sleep, and trying to do as many cups of coffee as possible was probably not the best way to do this. If we had gone to bed a little earlier, like he suggested. Anyhow. I think this was interesting. I think the setup was good. We probably would have rolled into the Pentapods a little faster if I succeeded those rolls.
Oh yeah.
And then the whole was there something out there in space is going to be interesting too. I'm not saying that we have a paranoid schizophrenic with us, but
I'm not saying we have a paranoid schizophrenic with us, but his name is Joseph Milligan.
but sending out all the sensor data and everything else like that sounds like fun. I can't wait to do it again when we get ready to leave this fun, scary place.
It's fun, scary place.
Yeah, the scariest environment imaginable. Thanks.
That sounds like it's almost verbatim quote back to Armageddon again.
It is. I looked it up.
I know, because because his line is something like, this is what I remember. I don't remember the exact line, but and I know you just looked it up and everything, but I always remembered ever since I watched that movie, because I remember when he said that I kind of chuckled to myself, but all I heard was, or at least at this point, is all you had to say was the scariest place ever. Thanks. You didn't have to go into all of that explanation. Speaking of long-winded explanations, Thurgor, what do you got for us?
Yeah, Thurgar. Yeah, just bore us to death. That's what the introduction said.
It's only paranoid schizophrenia if you're wrong.
That's a fair point. He's not wrong there.
But there was a stealth ship behind us, and
There
we
indeed
saw it.
was. There indeed
Yeah.
was somebody's stealth. He was leaking some heat.
And I bet he's going to be up around orbiting this planet too. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, you still have to get back to Llewellyn where your ship is. So
Right. So, well, I think it went about as well as we can. And now that we're here at the Pentapods, as long as we can get along with them, they might be able to tell us a better way to get back.
Yeah. They might know the secret of what's under the ground on
Well,
Route
yeah,
4.
if that's clear, or if the if the water's not really that big a risk on that other route, or whatever, But yeah, so
well, hopefully I can get all that prepped this weekend for you guys, because I am working Saturday, which is going to cut into some of my prep time. But
Fuck the other games.
it's not my games. it's this game that I need to prep for. And I don't know how, I'm going to have all day Sunday, so hopefully I'll figure out how to manage my time appropriately. You got anything else there, Thurgor?
no, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, anybody else got anything besides Wiggles, who's probably, I'm joking, Wiggles, I'm joking. Anybody got anything else before we end it? All right, that sounds like a no. So on that note, I will say this. I thought the idea of this particular section of the module was kind of cool. I will also further say that Wiggles has pointed out some possible design flaws, and I say that possible part just because under the auspices of a lot of things relying on dice rolls, it does introduce that random value where, maybe what if this crew came up and nobody knew how to drive a wheeled vehicle? What then? And, and a handful of other questions that could come up. And I think a lot of them revolve back to the GM making a GM call. And I kind of did that because I was like, I'm not about to have these guys make 15 rolls, because that just seems like it would kill the momentum or the spirit of what this is going. And then, of course, I made a call to make basically 3 rolls of this and 2 of that, and it changed because those rolls didn't go so well. But as the GM, we have that ability to make those changes to fit the story, to fit the narrative, to fit the viewership in this case. And hopefully I made a good call there. And I hope that if, such things come up before, again, hopefully I can keep making those calls, and I can make calls that make sense to my players and my viewers. And I think at the end of the day, despite the silliness that may or may not have been involved, I think everybody had a good time. I know I did. It sounds like you guys did. Nobody's truly upset, I think.
No.
On that note, that is our final stream of the week. We have our final match of week 5 for the Greyland Trios League being recorded tomorrow evening. So that video will go out Friday morning, which means sometime this weekend. In addition to prepping for next week and the Pentapod's big reveal, I got to do a weekend review video for the GTL and start getting ready for week 6. So my weekend's going to be busy because half of it will be at work. What else do I got? I think that's it. Blood Bowl Season 3 coming very soon. For those that know that I'm in that Blood Bowl 7s league with one or two of the other members of our community that we hang out in another community as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like there is, but I can't think of it, so fuck it, it'll be out there. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the show, please consider supporting us in various ways, such as liking and subscribing and commenting and other things that influence that algorithm. Or maybe, I don't know. No, you definitely don't have to throw me money. No, for real, you don't have to. Yeah, the liking, the subscribing, and all that other stuff. Or even better yet, just come to the Discord and hang out with us. Australis is there. Of course, the 4 of us are there. And there's a handful of other people, too. Maybe we all have some good jokes, and we can send each other stupid pictures. I don't know. In the meantime, I'm going to get out of here, because all I'm doing right now is rambling. So, please, for the love of God, be safe. This world is a crazy, dark place. Not as bad as Grendel, but still pretty scary at times. So do what you got to do to take care of you and yours. And as for us, we're out of here. Have a good, wonderful evening, guys.